The Thanksgiving weekend feast of college football continues today at the Orange Bowl in Miami, where the third-ranked Hurricanes host unbeaten Arkansas. Razorback tackle Wayne Martin and his defensive cohorts will have their hands full trying to throttle Miami's Steve Walsh, a Heisman Trophy candidate who has already thrown for more touchdowns in a season than his predecessor, Vinny Testaverde. Jimmy Johnson's defending national champions still harbor hopes of a second straight title, while the Hogs of Kent Hatfield get a chance to show that they're the real McCoy. And good day, everybody. I'm Jim Nantz, along with the coach, Ara Parseghian. Welcome to a big Saturday of action here on CBS Sports. In just a few moments, of course, the big game down in the Orange Bowl. And then tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time, the season premiere in prime time of the NBA on CBS. What could be better than a rematch of last year's two finalists, the Lakers and the Pistons? And by the way, at halftime, we'll be hearing from Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas about that game. In college basketball last night, the final of the Big Apple NIT between Syracuse and Missouri. And in the closing seconds of this game in regulation, Syracuse led by a bucket. But here comes Missouri trying to tie it up. Lee Coward misses the shot, but Doug Smith tips it in. We're going to overtime. Jim Boeheim's team fell behind early in the OT. But back they game behind the floor general Sherman Douglas. Look at that pass to Stephen Thompson, who lays it in, plus a foul. And Syracuse goes on to win the Big Apple NIT with a big-time lineup that now includes the freshman star, Billy Owens. Syracuse looking impressive last night at the Madison Square Garden. Now, our lineup today starts off with two teams from the top 10 in college football, Miami and Arkansas. Arkansas, of course, going on to the Cotton Bowl this year, but even with this team being unbeaten, Aaron, no one's given them much of a chance today against Miami.
Arkansas has got to be the Rodney Dangerfield of college football. We don't get any respect, for goodness sake. Here they are, 10-0, one of their conference, going to the Cotton Bowl, and they're 2.5 touchdown underdogs in this football game. Of course, that speaks well of Miami, of course, but if they do upset Miami, they certainly will get a lot of respect.
Well, everyone knows how powerful Miami can be. Just last week, look what they did at LSU. But what must the Razorbacks do to stay in this game? What's their game plan, you think?
They're basically a running team, as you well know. And the only way you can neutralize this great passing game is to keep the ball yourself. Third down plays are going to be very important for this Arkansas team. If they can maintain possession, they have a chance to upset the Miami Hurricanes.
All right, Coach. Of course, we'll be back here at halftime. Arab will have, of course, a few thoughts on that USC Notre Dame game that's taking place later today, plus scores and highlights at the intermission. We'll also talk live with Heisman Trophy candidate Barry Sanders, the outstanding junior running back from Oklahoma State. But right now, they're getting set for Arkansas and Miami. Brent Musburger and Pat Hayden, along with John Dockery, will have that action for you from the Orange Bowl in just a moment as college football continues here on CBS.
The season is winding down, but the hunt for the national championship is heating up. The Miami Hurricanes are defending the title and still hoping to repeat. Steve Walsh is the hottest quarterback in the nation, and he directs an offense that has become legendary. The Canes' only setback was their loss to Notre Dame, a loss that only firmed the resolve of Coach Jimmy Johnson, who has his team peaking at the right time. Down in Arkansas, the Razorback fans think they're in hog heaven. Their team is a perfect 10-0 and can have a shot for the national championship if they win today. A berth in the Cotton Bowl is assured, but revenge may be a factor after last year's humiliating loss to the Canes. It's a game they've been waiting all year to play. The Arkansas Razorbacks challenge the Miami Hurricanes today on CBS. Our scene is the Orange Bowl in Miami. The last chance for these two teams to step up and be counted in that race for a national championship. Miami calls the Orange Bowl our house, and it is very difficult to beat the Canes in their house. They are unbeaten here this year. Oh, Doug Flutie did it a few years ago, but it took a miracle to get the job done. That's how tough Miami is at home. perfectly glorious afternoon for a college football game here in Miami. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. I'm sure that all of you are aware of Miami. They have been the team of the decade so far. That fabulous passing attack, running up the scores on one and all. But how about this Arkansas team coming in here this afternoon at 10-0? Let's bring in my partner, Pat Hayden. And Pat, I know what's on my mind. Who are these guys anyway?
Well, you know, this Arkansas team got nobody to respect at the beginning of the year, but slowly they have done just that. They've gotten that respect with this fabulous defense, and that defense is led by Wayne Martin, the best defensive lineman that nobody's ever heard of. 13 sacks on the year for Martin, 18 tackles for losses. And, Brett, I think he and his teammates are the real key. If they can get in Steve Walsh's face, not necessarily sack him, but maybe alter his throws, they have a chance.
Now, when they have the ball, what kind of weapons do they have?
Well, their coach, Ken Hatfield, calls their offense the flex bone, which is a variation of the wishbone, so they're primarily an option team. But what makes this team a little bit different is their kicker. Kendra Trainer has kicked 22 field goals in a row, 3 shy of the NCAA record. So every time they get down in scoring range, they get at least 3 on the board. Brett, he's been the difference in at least 4 games this year. Could be today.
Well, Arkansas comes into this game a 17-point underdog. How's that for being unbeaten? And one of the reasons why, the quarterback of the Hurricanes, Steve Walsh.
Well, Jimmy Johnson told us yesterday that he is a bottom-line quarterback. He just wins football games for us. And Brett, I think you measure a quarterback by how often he brings his team from behind and how well he plays in big games. Steve Walsh has done a remarkable job of both those things his 2 years here at Miami.
Now, we have talked about the national championship for both these teams. Let's show you the specifics of a scenario. Let's start with Miami. There are 5 steps, and the first 3 are right here in the Orange Bowl. They must handle Arkansas this afternoon, close out the regular season with a victory over BYU, and then defeat Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. But still, that won't do it, because the Notre Dame-USC winner must lose its bowl game. SC goes against Michigan in the Rose. Notre Dame takes on West Virginia in the Fiesta. And then Jimmy Johnson must hope for the vote. Now, if he winds up tied with West Virginia, well, Johnson is campaigning on the strength of the Miami schedule.
I think when you vote for a football team as far as the ranking, I think you have to look at the strength of the team, not just the record. I know with our football team playing the preseason #1 Florida State and then the current #1 Notre Dame, after that 4 champions of their particular conferences, Michigan in the Big Ten, LSU in the Southeastern Conference, Arkansas, Southwest, and then Nebraska in the Big 8. You have to say that we've got a difficult schedule, and so record isn't the bottom line.
Now, it would be much easier for Miami if SC wins, because if Notre Dame goes into the Fiesta Bowl still unbeaten and the Mountaineers are unbeaten, they're going to bill that game as a national championship game.
Well, unlike last year, Miami does not control its own schedule. But remember, they have the kind of offense that can score a lot of points and impress voters.
Now, the Arkansas road to a national championship, a little more difficult. First of all, they have to win here. Then USC must beat Notre Dame on the West Coast. And Arkansas must handle UCLA in the Mobile Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Then Michigan has to beat an unbeaten Trojan team in the Rose Bowl. That would take care of all the unbeatens if Notre Dame gets past West Virginia. And finally, they must hope for the vote. We asked Coach Ken Hatfield, if you're taking out a piece of paper and noodled with this?
I didn't have to doodle with it. The doodle was already there. It's in Miami. Miami certainly played as good as any team in the country, and I think everybody knows that has seen them play. To beat Miami in Miami is something no team has done in a long time. I think if you do that, it would put you in position. First of all, it'd put us undefeated. Second, it would be defeating a team that's as good as there is, the defending national champion. And third, there would only be 3 undefeated teams going into the bowl game that were undefeated. And so you should have a chance if that were to happen.
But first things first for Ken and Arkansas, they must beat Miami, and not many folks think they can do that here.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's going to take a near-perfect game on offense. They can't turn the ball over. They've done a pretty good job of that this year. They lead the nation in turnover margin.
This is the 2nd largest crowd of the year here in the Orange Bowl for Miami, and their band is down on the field, and let's enjoy them for a few moments. countdown to our kickoff will continue right after this message and a word from your local stations. It's Arkansas and Miami, and the coaches present quite a story here, because back in the mid-60s, 1964, Arkansas won a national champion. And take a look at two who were teammates. Jimmy Johnson, the Miami coach, was a tough defensive guard. Ken Hatfield, he was a splendid defensive back. And a short time ago, these two coaches met at center field. They're still friends, but you'd have a hard time believing it after last year's game between Miami and Arkansas. Jimmy poured it on before a stunned Razorback crowd. Obviously, well, he draws a line between business and friendship.
Are you welcome back to FLS?
Oh, I've still got a lot of friends and family in Arkansas, and so I do have contact with the people back there. And you know, I've got a great feeling for my days at the University of Arkansas when we won the national championship. But I'm a coach, and it's a business situation, and we'll play as well as we can play.
Jimmy did a good job in the ball game. They were well prepared, and they whipped us big time last year.
Ken Hatfield and the Razorbacks of Arkansas ready to pour onto the field, and here they come. Hatfield's 5th year at Arkansas. His first trip to the Cotton Bowl coming up on January 2nd when he'll be matched against UCLA. But right now, he is thinking about gaining a measure of revenge on the Canes. Ken and his entire staff believe they are stronger than they were a year ago when they were shellacked. Now, John Dockery, I understand there's concern about Miami's All-American defensive end, Bill Hawkins, today. What's that story?
You know, Brent, he didn't practice much during the week because he has an infected big toe, but he underwent a surgical procedure during the week. They removed the nail, and I watched him in the pre-workouts, and he looked fine. He moved well, no apparent discomfort, so he won't start today. Shane Curry will start at his defensive end spot, but we can expect to see the All-American in there. And, Brent, you know, when you look at the depth in that defensive line, it shouldn't make much difference.
So when we come back, it'll be Miami and Arkansas on CBS.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks versus the Miami Hurricanes. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Toyota. There's quality. Who could ask for anything more? Michelob. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. And by Midas for mufflers, brakes, and shocks. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
To go, Jimmy Johnson upset at his captains. Arkansas winning the flip, took the wind at their back, and Miami elected to kick off. So Arkansas not only gets the wind, but they'll get the ball. And Edgar Bennis had it blown off the tee before he kicked it off. There's a somewhat unusual return man here for Arkansas. This is Barry Foster. He's the fullback. Seldom, Pat, do we see the fullback as the deep man returning kickoffs.
Well, interestingly enough, he is their big play guy, even though he does play the fullback position for them.
And it blew off the tee as they came downfield, and Bennis just sort of jogged on past the ball. This is a beautiful afternoon here, and the only weather concern is the wind, which certainly has played a factor in many games. here in the Orange Bowl. As so many quarterbacks and players know in the past, 15, 20 miles an hour. It'll gust down here as you're watching the television screens coming through that open end. See the palm leaves blowing there on the side. It's a pretty brisk breeze. So if nothing else, it will. Foster at the 9, bobbles it at the 10, and he will be short at the 20-yard line. Take a look at him bobbling the ball here, Pat.
This is just what you don't want to have happen to your offense when you start against a pretty good Miami defense. Again, I think the wind kind of played some tricks with the ball, but Foster ultimately didn't got the ball and didn't really fumble it.
Senior John Bland out of Knoxville will start at quarterback. Quinn Grovey is healthy and available to play. Bland throws on first down, incomplete, overthrew Tim Horton. Donald Ellis with coverage. Who are the key men on this offense for Arkansas, Pat?
Well, we talked about both quarterbacks there. Bland just threw that pass. Grovey is really the starter, and he will play most of this game very quick on his feet. The fullback, Barry Foster, they need the big plays from Foster if they're going to have a chance today inside the guard blocks. And the offensive right guard, Freddie Childress, all 310 pounds of him, they like to run behind Childress.
Derek Russell in at wide receiver for the Razorbacks. And they run Johnson into the arms of Rod Carter, the middle linebacker for the Canes. And how about the keys on defense?
Well, this Miami defense has some real stars. Russell Maryland is having a sensational year at defensive tackle. Reminds people of Jerome Brown. Maurice Crum has emerged this year as a terrific player, a sophomore outside linebacker, their leading tackler. And at free safety, an 18-year-old true freshman from Houston, Charles Farms.
3rd and long for the Razorbacks on their opening series. Bland down the line on the option, brings the wingman around, and no daylight. Jackson was crushed by Bubba McDowell, who came up from the corner for run support.
Over the years, the Miami offense has gotten all the credit, but it has really been the defense that has set up their sensational 5-year record under Jimmy Johnson.
Cannot put the wind to good advantage on their opening series. Darrell Spencer back deep to return. Alan Meacham's punt. Meacham got it up under pressure. Spencer at the 35, 40, 45, just short of midfield, down at the 49-yard line. So with the wind, it was a strong 49-yard punt and a 14-yard return.
And Bubba McDowell, number 48 on the right side of your screen, he has blocked 8 punts in his career. And it's just a matter of speed and timing, watching the ball when it's snapped, and getting a great jump, which McDowell has done.
Steve Walsh, 28 touchdown passes on the season. And he'll throw it on first down. Dropping off the screen to Cleveland Gary. Fumble, and Arkansas believes that they have pounced on it, but perhaps they called him down. They did.
Take another look. Cleveland Gary has been a sensational receiver this year, but watch whether the ball causes the fumble. I mean, the ground causes the fumble.
That's a bad call.
Yeah, it looked like from that angle he did fumble it before he hit the ground.
We'll check it a second time, but at first glance that looked like a bad call. They run Gary, trying to cut back. The Arkansas defense swarmed on him. Michael Shepard and LaSalle Harper, the leading tackler, number 31, were there.
You know, the key players for this Miami team, Cleveland Gary, the man who just fumbled the ball there, but a most versatile fullback in all of America. Andre Brown has caught 8 touchdown passes on the year.
This is 3rd and 2 for the Canes on their opening series. Conley, 28, is on the wing. Walsh again to throw. Drops it off underneath to Conley for the first down. He's at the 30-yard line. Harper making the tackle. That's a 13-yard gain, and the play which kept the drive going when the officials called Gary down.
And remember, here's the pass again. Notice the good protection here that Steve Walsh has received. I don't think his offensive line gets enough credit. Only 2 sacks all season long for Walsh.
1st and 10 for Miami at the Arkansas 30-yard line. Just underway in the Orange Bowl and no score. Keeping Conley on the wing. Here's Gary. Good defensive pressure. Wayne Martin, number 83, their All-American, making the hit.
Watching Cleveland Gary here again. Again, the fumble, this was a few plays ago, he actually fumbled that ball before he hit the ground. That should have been a recovery by Patrick Williams, number 24. The official called that he hit the ground first. It was a bad call.
Bad break for that man, Hatfield, and the Razorbacks. 2nd and 10 for Walsh and the Canes. Chudzinski, the tight end. Walsh to Andre Brown. He cuts inside and picks up another 5 yards with that move before Patrick Williams brings him down. That's a 1st down.
The problem that Miami presents you is you're afraid to blitz them because of their wide receivers. Andre Brown right here just runs a little soft little hook pattern. The tight end cleared it out for him, and the ball gets there very quickly. If you blitz them, you have to play on one-on-one. That's the concern you have when you play against that kind of speed.
The corner and the outside linebacker colliding, but that was a very, very big cushion for Andre Brown defensively. 1st and 10 for the Canes. They're at the Arkansas 20-yard line. Deep drop by Walsh. Incomplete. His tight end was the intended receiver. What about Chudzinski's health, Pat?
He has been banged up most of the year. The interesting thing, though, Walsh has used both Chudzinski and Bethel, the tight ends, 2 times, or for the 2 tight ends, for 10 touchdown receptions on the year. Again, they love to use that tight end and fullback in their passing game.
Steve Walsh, 20-1 overall as their starting quarterback. That was his first incompletion of the day. Now he runs the draw play with Gary, or I should say with Conley, and Reggie Hall bringing him down.
You know, Brendan, when you talk about Steve Walsh, everybody talks about him being an intelligent quarterback, and sometimes in sports that's a euphemism for a guy who didn't have a lot of athletic ability, but not in his case. He's got a lot of ability, can use his head to beat you, a very bright guy, but also has a very good and accurate right arm.
Came out of St. Paul in his high school. Creighton going for the state championship in Minnesota tonight against Blaine High School. Steve wanted to pass along best wishes to Coach Mel Scanlon and the team tonight. 3rd down and long, throwing to Gary. Great defense by Williams, number 24, who is having a spectacular season for the Razorbacks. Oh, did he come up on Gary that time.
And that's what their defensive game plan is. Play soft, make them throw everything in front of you, and then react on the ball. Patrick Williams, 6 interceptions on the year, each one of those in their last 6 games.
Carlos Huerta to attempt the 36-yard field goal here against that wind. Enjoying a fine season. Good kick. Miami leads it. Coming off the Canes' first series, 9 plays, and Carlos Huerta, the 36-yarder, putting Miami ahead of Arkansas 3-0. Bennis to kick off for the 2nd time this afternoon. Very short, high hop. It was a free ball, and Foster alertly returned it to the 27-yard line. Perfect seasons. Down to these 4, Notre Dame, USC, and there'll be at least 3 by the time the afternoon ends, unless there's a tie out on the West Coast.
Arkansas has about the least amount of respect for an undefeated team that I've seen in a long time, Brent. Partly it has to do, I think, with the reputation of their conference. But they've had a marvelous year.
Yeah, the Southwest Conference image badly tarnished, but it's nice to have Arkansas headed back to the Mobile Cotton Bowl. Nice quarterback draw by Bland, and he gets a first down out to the 40-yard line. Freshman Charles Farms tackles him after a 14-yard run.
And that is a nice little quarterback draw. Ordinarily, you see the quarterback drop into the pocket in a passing formation. This time they fake the ball to the fullback. Everybody reacts to the fullback, and that's a terrific change of pace by John Bland.
Pat, what's the basic difference between the wishbone and the flexbone?
Well, they put a guy up on the wing closer to the line of scrimmage, theoretically, to be a better receiver.
Harshaw in at fullback, and Bland throwing incomplete. Tim Horton, and he miscommunicated on that.
You're going to throw the ball against this Miami defense. I think you have to throw the ball over the middle, and when your team is not accustomed to throwing it a lot or well, it's tough to do that because that's where the interceptions come.
Hatfield is working against this statistic as far as Miami is concerned defensively. The Canes have not allowed a touchdown in the Orange Bowl this year. In fact, since losing to Notre Dame by 1 point, they've allowed only 1 touchdown. They run the ball straight ahead against that Miami defense. The key will be establishing some kind of an inside running game, and Juju Harshaw, the backup fullback, the ball carrier that time, but it will leave Arkansas in a 3rd and long.
You're absolutely right. If Arkansas is going to have a chance on offense, they cannot find themselves in 3rd and 7 and 8, and that's what's happened thus far in this game. They need to be in 3rd and 2 in this kind of offense.
Here's Bland off a play fake under pressure, deflected, hit a helmet, incomplete.
Good rush here, and on 3rd and 8, you really don't get any effect on a play-action fake because you know you have to throw the football. 4 down linemen, watch how quickly they get off the ball. Terrific on the timing, inside rush by Shannon, the linebacker. And here's the pass as it goes off the defensive man's head. Bland was hit, but you can't play-action fake on 3rd and 8.
1 first down, and then 3 downs and out for the Razorbacks. Second punt, Meacham getting it off under pressure. Takes an Arkansas bounce inside the 5 and on into the end zone for the touchback. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. Lucky to get that one off, bouncing into the end zone. When you come back, it'll be Miami's ball. They lead it by a field goal. 1,000 of the Arkansas faithful have traveled in here to Miami to watch their Razorbacks in action against the Hurricanes, who have the ball for the 2nd time here this afternoon. Walsh running the draw with Gary finding daylight on the left, being stretched out. Steve Atwater, number 27, was riding him down that time, the rangy safety. Miami's played one of the tougher schedules in the country this year. Florida State, preseason number 1, they clobbered them 31-0. Great comeback against Michigan. Lost the heartbreaker to Notre Dame. Then beat the Southeastern Conference co-champ LSU. Today they go against the Southwest Conference champ Arkansas. And in the Orange Bowl here, they will play Nebraska on the night of January 2nd. Walsh calling the play at the line. Has time, deflected and caught by one of his linemen. And he gets close to a first down. Bobby Garcia, number 50, caught the deflection. The ball was hit by Chad Rowland.
Every lineman's dream, catching the ball. He's saying the ball was tipped, so there shouldn't be a penalty, which is the right call. So when you're an offensive center, this is what you want to have happen, though. You want to catch a ball like this and go about 80 yards for a touchdown. And Bobby Garcia, number 50, gets his chance, makes a nice little catch, gets his big old paws on it, and then runs right into darkness. You've heard of running to daylight. He ran to darkness.
He's the man who's supposed to open up the daylight. Garcia's saying, where were Gary and Conley? Get into that hole and help me out a little bit. And he gives the Canes a first down. Does he get credit for a pass reception? And
Yep. And
Walsh likes to spread it around a lot.
He'll get to work with the receivers next week.
Ball is at the Miami 30. Lead it by a field goal, and on first down, Walsh putting it up again. This time he'll go long for Hill, underthrowing. Hill and Richard Brothers bumping at the 35-yard line, and the ball was thrown on the inside.
It looked like a terrible throw, but that shows you what kind of wind there was, Brent. That ball just got hung up in the wind, and when you're throwing into that kind of wind, you have to throw the ball underneath some shorter routes.
Andre Brown from Chicago has become the leading wide receiver on this team. The #1 receiver for Walsh is Gary. John O'Neill, out of the offensive line, was injured. He's on the bench. Walsh under pressure that time, gets it off into the middle, incomplete. And the tight end was well defended by Reggie Hall. We have seen defensively that Arkansas has done a good job of studying Jimmy Johnson's passing tendencies.
You're absolutely right. And again, they are playing with the wind a little bit. They realize if Miami's going to throw the ball in this quarter, they're going to throw it short. Right there, Reggie Hall did a nice job as an inside linebacker, reading the tight end's route and shut him down.
Miami with 12 offensive plays, and so far the production has been 8 pass and 4 runs. This a pass play on 3rd and 10 again. Good pressure on Walsh. He steps up away from it, and Hill drops the ball at midfield. Would have kept the drive alive, but Randall Hill booted it. And the Canes must punt.
I think what a receiver has to do on these kind of routes is try to catch the ball with his hands. It looks like he tries to cradle it in his body, and it came right off his shoulder pads. He needs to get the hands out and make a hand catch rather than the body catch, because sometimes it's going to bounce off the pads.
Tim Kalal, number 19, the Miami punter. Tim Horton, number 3, set to return for Arkansas. High snap, he brings it down and hangs it high. This will give Arkansas good field position. Ooh, dangerous catch there at the 49, but he got the job done. That was Kirk Collins, a freshman, making the catch. And at the conclusion of today's CBS Sports College Football broadcast, we'll select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team, and Chevrolet gladly donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of both Miami and Arkansas. Well, the Razorbacks have good field position here, Mr. Hayden.
Again, the wind has been much more of a factor than you can really see on television. That punt was only 19 yards because of that. It's important for them to get something on the board in this drive.
Well, here's the wishbone. Foster, the fullback. He bolts right through the middle to the 44-yard line. There was a hole there on the right side before Russell Maryland could tackle him. They have a great right guard on this Arkansas team.
You're right. Freddie Childress, number 72, down to 310 pounds. Last January, he weighed 367 and was really eating himself out of the conference, but came back in great shape, 310 pounds, and has had his best season yet.
He bought the Fridge's diet book. Carlos Gatson checks in for Arkansas. And again, the fullback straight ahead, but he is short of the first down as Rod Carter, the middle linebacker, stepped in. Let's go downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Brent, Arkansas's best running back, James Rouse, is on the sidelines. You see him behind me there, number 35, one of the few players in Arkansas history to go over 1,000 yards. I talked to Ken Hatfield before the game. I said, why is he in uniform if he's not going to play with that hyperextended knee? He said, you know, I'm trying to get him back in the flow so that he's ready for the Cotton Bowl. Now back to you, Brent.
And, of course, in that Cotton Bowl in Dallas, they'll play UCLA. Dallas Cowboy fans might want to drop by and check out Troy Aikman. He might have a shot at him. Now Bland turns it around, but he's not going to get the first down as Greg Mark forces him out of bounds on that far side.
And that was a designed kind of scramble that looked like Bland was first going to go left and then reversed his field, but it's a very disciplined defense. If you're going to run against this Miami defense, you have to run right at them because they have too much speed to try to go around them. And they are considering they're going to call a timeout to see whether they're going to go for it, decide whether they're going to go for it on 4th and about 3.
And they have the best field goal kicker in college football this year in Kendall Traynor. But this would be very long even by his standards. So we've got timeout on the field. Let's take a break. The Orange Bowl, Kendall Traynor, the field goal specialist, was warming up his right foot on the far side, and he trots onto the field. So he will attempt one with the wind at his back of 59 yards. His career long 58. He hammers it. Good. It bounced over.
Unbelievable. 23 in a row.
When you're hot, you're blazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
Kendall Trainer coming into this game with 22 straight field goals. He already has scored 102 points with this field goal. That's an Arkansas school record. Getting the good bounce to knot this score at 3. And here's a kicker who almost lost his job back in the Mississippi game.
He was 1 of 4 to begin the year, and his coach chewed him out at halftime for missing 2 field goals, called him a choker. And he came out of the locker room and told his teammates, I'm not going to miss another one this year. And he's hit 23 straight since that time.
Already he has been named to the first 2 All-American squads that were published. Kodak, which was voted by the coaches, and the Football News first team All-America team. So Kendall Trainer with the ball on the tee, and the Razorbacks tied with the Hurricanes here in the first quarter at 3 apiece. Randall Hill and Darrell Spencer set to return this kickoff, and it blows off the tee. They had a first down in that sequence. Then they used a timeout, but it was well worth it. If you can cash that timeout into 3 points, which has tied the score here in the Orange Bowl. And in case you joined us, it was a mistake at midfield during the coin toss, which cost Miami the wind at their back here in the opening quarter. Hill driven back into the end zone is going to come out. 10, 15. Hammered at the 20-yard line. The high-scoring teams this year, Oklahoma State with Barry Sanders, who now appears headed for the Heisman Trophy, leading the way. But Miami and Arkansas are in the top 20.
And interesting, they do it different ways. Obviously, Miami by throwing the ball, Arkansas generally by running the option.
Walsh favoring the pass on first down. Let's see what he comes up with here. Jerry's the fullback, and Conley the tail. Off a fake, he moves the pocket to the left and throws back complete to Chudzinski for a first down out to the 37-yard line. A 17-yard gain. Walsh to his tight end. Atwater tackling him.
Rob Chudzinski is not the fastest tight end in America, but what he has is a terrific feel for the game. They sprint Walsh out this time, roll him out, and Chudzinski just works the middle. Just finds a little open area. He was covered at first, but had a feel for that soft spot, and then the ball well thrown.
He was looking for Conley to lateral to on that sequence. The 3 defensive players appeared on the screen to rush over a little bit too far. Got too eager on that pass play. Conley batters his way to the 40. Shepard bringing him down for Arkansas. A lot of those traditional rivalries unfolding this afternoon. Jet lag for Boston College. They're still trying to get acclimated to United States time. Staged a nice win over Army last week in Dublin, Ireland. From all reports, that was a great success. Speaking of Army, we'll see them against the Middies from Philadelphia next Saturday. Walsh back. Receivers are covered, so he wants Gary, and he missed him.
The Arkansas defense there did a very nice job, I think, of baiting Steve Walsh into an audible. They gave him a soft look. He tried to audible to an out route. Then they rolled the corners up, took it away, and Walsh then tried to dump the ball to Gary.
Quinn Grovey warming up on the Arkansas sideline. He'll give the Razorbacks a bit of a different look at quarterback. Coming off an injured shoulder, more of a threat to run and bring the option down the line, so it'll be a different kind of a look they'll give the Hurricane defense when he comes on. Oh, what a great catch by Gary. Stopped short of that first down, though. That was Atwater, who is 6'4", 215 pounds, and he took him on and kept him from getting the first down. 60-some thousand on hand here in the Orange Bowl, which is where Miami plays its home games. This has witnessed a lot of great football games through the years. Doug Flutie Miracle, Bernie Kosar National Championship, Vinny Testaverde against Oklahoma. Back to return is Horton. And on the fake, the first down. Maurice Crum, the linebacker, runs for the first down on the fake punt and keeps the drive going at 2:30 here of the first quarter.
You know, I don't think Jimmy Johnson gets enough credit as a coach. This is a terrific call. Crum, a linebacker, right there in the middle as the up back, the direct snap to him. He only needed a yard, and he has a big linebacker who's 220 pounds who gets it for him.
Now watch Tim Kalal, what he does on this. Jumps high in the air, and that convinces at least one of the outside men that it's a high snap. And he stays out, and somebody probably yelled down there in the middle of it, bad snap. Now they bring Andre Brown on a fake, and Walsh goes for the bundle, complete, and he goes down to the 1-foot line. He hit Dale Dawkins.
It was the head fake, believe it or not, of Steve Walsh that made that play very successful. We'll look at it in a moment.
First and goal, Gary for the 6.
Of Steve Walsh after he fakes the reverse to Andre Brown. Watch his head. He sells the whole defense that Andre Brown has the ball. Then methodically finds his other wide receiver, Dale Dawkins. That's a terrific fake.
Huerta hammers in the extra point. That's so difficult to teach a youngster. To follow him with the look like Walsh did.
And here's the back half of the play. Then it was a beautiful throw to Dale Dawkins, who was pretty well covered there by Cooney, number 28. But Walsh just threw it just enough away from the defender to allow Dawkins to get it. Let's take one more look at this thing as you'll view the fake. The reverse here first as Dawkins comes down, and watch the free safety bite on the fake. The subtle things like this, just a quarterback's head move, head fake, that can fool the defense. The free safety buys the fake, and then the ball beautifully thrown by Walsh away from the defender. Looked like he came down on the line. It really should have been a touchdown. They scored nonetheless on Cleveland Gary's run.
Venice to kick it off, with Miami leading Arkansas 10-3. Foster standing at the 15-yard line. Venice tries the line drive and gets it by him on into the end zone, where we'll roll dead. You know, I got to tell you something. That's a live ball down in there, but the official stopped it. Let me take a look at the official. If our director Joe Assetti has that, when he crosses, that could have been a Miami touchdown.
I think the official actually had blown the whistle, and that's what happened there. They blew it once it went into the end zone. But you're right, that is twice now that Foster has had some problems with the wind. One time he should have called a fair catch on a kick, and that time he should have just fallen on it.
Arkansas trailing by 7. And Quinn Grovey into the game at quarterback for his first series. And they run the fullback Foster, and he goes the distance. Barry Foster for the touchdown. They won't catch him. There are no penalty flags down. How about that?
And what makes that such a nice play is the Miami defense sees Quinn Grovey come in. He's a guy that has got great speed. They're concerned about him on the outside of the defense, and then they give the ball to Barry Foster, a guy who from the fullback position has come up with all the big plays for the Razorbacks.
The leading rusher with 80 more yards, putting him over 600 for the season, and his 8th score. And the best field goal kicker in college football this year adds the extra point to tie it, and this crowd is stunned.
Anytime you see a fullback get this wide open, your center's got to make a nice block, and usually your linebackers overrun it. The strong safety was 39 Harden. He was up there but did overrun the play because everybody was concerned about the quarterback on the perimeter of the defense that cleared the way for Foster. And take a look at the block of the center there, Crawford, who does a real nice job of sealing it out. He runs right by Harden, the strong safety, and then shows you pretty good speed out running some fast cornerbacks for Miami. Foster is 217 pounds.
Sensational block on Maurice Crum, who was trying to get over from his linebacking spot and got knocked completely off his feet. So Arkansas comes back with a bolt of lightning, and the score is tied at 10 with a minute and a half left in the first quarter. Already Arkansas much more impressive than they were a year ago. Now we have checked, and a rule change in effect. An untouched ball in the end zone is a dead ball. So the deep man for Arkansas did not make a mistake. That is no longer a live ball. Well, we get verification there, and Darrell Spencer to the 15, 20, to the 25-yard line. Greg Switzer, Barry Switzer's son, who was a walk-on linebacker at Arkansas, brought him down at the 25-yard line. And we welcome all of you to the Orange Bowl. Miami favored by 17 points, led it 3-0, led it 10-3, and Arkansas twice has come back. A minute 21, and the Razorbacks serving notice that this could well turn out to be a game after all. Now the backup running back, and that is Fred Highsmith, cousin of Alonzo Highsmith, the former great here at Miami, who is now with the Houston Oilers, the ball carrier, as Jimmy Johnson uses some of his depth here this afternoon against Arkansas.
And depth they have at running back. Highsmith, a senior, hasn't played a lot, but played quite a bit last week against LSU.
Shannon Kroll in the backfield with Highsmith, and off a fake to Kroll, Walsh throws underneath to Highsmith, close to a first down. Otis Lloyd, the 5'9" linebacker, bringing him down. Downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Brent, you were exactly right. I just talked with the official, and he said the ball was untouched. It rolled into the end zone and stopped. That's when he blew the whistle. So you were right. It is not a live ball. It's a new rule. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, John, thank you very much. 1st and 10. I saw somebody in the NFL in an exhibition game about a decade ago do that down in Houston, and the Oilers recovered it for a touchdown. Final seconds ticking away here in the opening quarter. Kroll's first carry, and Kerry Crawford making the hit for Arkansas. And time runs out in the first quarter, with Arkansas and Miami tied at 10. College football on CBS will return after this message and a word from your local station. Pat Hayden, that maybe the officials of the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl are taking sides, or are they peacefully watching this one?
What about old Hoss Brock? I know where his heart lies.
Came right off his couch back in Dallas when Foster exploded for 80 yards.
It's a pretty solid Arkansas team.
Well, they sure were impressive in the first 15 minutes. Remember, though, they had the win. Now it's Walsh's turn at bat. And against that win, he was tough enough, 9 of 14. First pass, and he hits a wide man near midfield. Brothers and Atwater defensively against Brown. Let's give you a summary. Traynor tied it with a 59-yard field goal, which hit the crossbar and bounced across. Foster then tied it at 10 with that 80-yard bolt right up the middle. Total yards, Arkansas hanging tough with the Canes, but now Walsh drives Miami to midfield. And this time he runs the tailback Fred Highsmith behind the right side of the line, and Lloyd does it defensively. How about Otis Lloyd's size, Pat Hayden?
He is only 5'8" and about 190 pounds. Lloyd really played a rover back position last year, but when they went into a four-man scheme, he's playing outside linebacker on the weak side. They try to involve him in coverage more than run support.
Second and long for Miami. Penalty flags come down. Kerry Crawford, number 96.
That's another nice thing that Steve Walsh has done over the year.
Dead ball, defense, offside.
He will change his snap count. He'll go in the first quarter, go on 1 and 2, and then when you get settled into that cadence, he'll go on a longer count and draw you offside.
Walsh is unbeaten at the Orange Bowl. He's passed for 119 yards. Arkansas looking for some positive yardage in that situation. National television, Walsh is 9-1. Lost only that one-pointer up at Notre Dame earlier this year. Running for the first down, Chad Rowland was there defensively for the Razorbacks.
Chad Rowland is a tobacco-chewing, tough Texas kind of kid. Loves playing the nose tackle. One of those few guys who really enjoys playing the position of nose guard. Got his first start at Arkansas a year ago against Miami. Coaches were worried about him being nervous, and in the first series he got into a fight. Played well for the Razorbacks this year.
Miami's first down at the Arkansas 40-yard line. Walsh calls the play at the line. Straight back, complete to the 35-yard line. Kroll, the receiver, and Williams, the defender.
You can see that Steve Walsh doesn't have the strongest arm in college football, but if you throw the ball on time and know where you're throwing it, as he does, you don't need to have a rocket arm. He anticipates the throw beautifully. He has used 8 different receivers already today, including the center.
That was Bobby Garcia catching that deflected pass. Walsh over the middle, and he's got Highsmith inside the 10 to the 5-yard line.
Steve Walsh does as good a job as any quarterback I've ever seen, college or pro, of reading a zone defense and trying to get a slot man into the seam. You see the double zone defense. Here's a soft spot right here, and he gets that fullback right up there who's on the wing position. This is an audible. He's done it time in and over and over again all season long. Right up in the soft spot, well thrown.
First and goal. Kroll had too far to jump. Not even Bob Beeman could have made that. Sal Harper there defensively for the Razorbacks.
The Arkansas team needs to make this a low-scoring game if they're going to win it. Take a look at the leaping ability of Kroll. We've got some athletes on this Miami team up and over. And the offensive line always is doing a good job. Anytime a back has that much time to be able to get up and over, it means the offensive line is coming off the ball pretty good. But Arkansas needs...
On this team, that's an understatement. This whole state's got athletes. Second and goal. Here's Kroll, cuts it back in, and he is stopped. Arkansas led by Harper, who's been all over the field. That senior from LaPorte, Texas.
Again, watch watch the blitz here by the defense. You see the linebackers up close to the line of scrimmage to get there a little bit early, but terrific penetration there by a lot of white jerseys, including Roland, number 51, who put the stop on him, and the inside linebacker Harper. Key third down for this Arkansas defense. They need to keep this a low-scoring game if they're going to win.
Waiters and Gary check in, and timeout called by Walsh.
Remember, fans, next week the Hurricane basketball team.
Walsh will come over to Coach Johnson on the Miami sideline. And while we've got an opportunity, let's take a look at these two fine schools. Down and goal, Pat Hayden, and what do the Canes like to do?
Remember, they have thrown 10 touchdown passes to their tight ends. They like a big target this area of the field.
Mike Pigza, number 81, in at tight end. Gary, number 43, a splendid receiver out of the backfield, is behind Waiters in the eye. Gary, and he was stopped short of the goal line by Shepard. The Miami running back's a little anxious.
That's a surprising call to me. As good a throwing team as Miami is, that they try to run the ball and dive in from that far out. And again, it was a penetration that really kept Gary from getting enough time and getting close enough to the line of scrimmage to be able to get in.
It's come down to 4th and goal for Miami. Arkansas and the Canes tied at 10. 10 minutes to go in the first half.
Have to throw the ball here.
And another timeout is used by Walsh. Timeouts in the first half of a football game are not as critical as those in the second half. And on 4th down, Walsh wants to make absolutely sure.
Yards behind the Miami offense right here. And the problem was Steve Walsh, a lot of noise down here. Couldn't hear what was going on. He and Cleveland Gary were confused, so he called the timeout, Brent. Now back to you.
All right, thank you, John. Best seat in the house right down there in the end zone. With 9:58 to go in the first half, Arkansas and Miami are tied at 10. This has been the 11-play drive, and here it is, 4th and goal for the Canes. They are stuffed. Conley is down as Lloyd was the first to hit him, and Arkansas takes over on downs. What a sensational goal line stand.
And I am shocked by 2 calls there by Miami, one of the best throwing teams in all of America. They try 2 runs and they get stuffed by a very tough and aggressive Arkansas defense. Terrific penetration there by Lloyd really made Conley try to adjust.
And on the Arkansas sideline, Ken Hatfield reacts to the 4th down tackle. The other side, Johnson unhappy. He had called Andre Brown over to the sideline, and obviously that was a decoy. Now it is 1st and 10 for the Razorbacks. And they work the ball conservatively into the middle. Quinn Grovey, the quarterback who replaced John Bland, now operating the offense for the Razorbacks.
Very important for Arkansas to get a 1st down here, get on the perimeter of the defense and use Grovey's speed, because remember, they're going to be punting into a 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Carlos Gatson into the backfield. Aaron Jackson leaving. Full wishbound. Harshaw, the fullback, with the carry. Nothing doing.
This defense is a little bit like Ted Koppel's hair. It rarely moves. They get great penetration up there. That time by Maurice Crum, number 49.
Well, yeah, how about Jimmy Johnson's hair? You could have used that. I mean, we'd have to plug the competition.
There it is. It's moving today at 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Aaron Jackson is back. A big 3rd down. 8 yards to go for the Razorbacks. Timeout by Grovey. Now those are Hogettes. Speaking of the Washington Redskins and their fans, let's run down the NFL schedule on CBS tomorrow. 12:30 Eastern Time, the NFL Today. Now, there's a big one. Phoenix and Philadelphia meet twice in the next 3 weeks. Green Bay at Chicago. The Bears have to keep going with Minnesota in hot pursuit. Atlanta coming on here of late. They'll host Vinny Testaverde. Late the big game. Denver trying to rebound from that disaster in New Orleans. The Rams also desperately in need of a win. And some of you will see San Francisco at San Diego. Dan Fouts Day down in San Diego. They're going to retire his jersey. I'll be along with Will McDonough, Irv Cross, and old number 51, Dick Butkus, tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time.
Speaking of the NFL, I was looking through the Arkansas press guide, and guess who made the all-decade team, the 50s? Our own, worked at CBS.
Pat Summerall.
He's the guy. Made it as an end and a kicker.
What year was that?
It was in the 50s. It might have been early 50s or late. I don't know. He said
he would appreciate it if we'd say late. I'll bet that old Razorback is watching.
They are still talking about Pat Summerall here at Arkansas.
Third down. Grovey runs the option coming down the line, is back in the end zone, tackle for the safety. Bill Huckins nailed him for the safety.
Top of the screen, number 54. What he has is real strong hands. See the way he just gets rid of the blocker? He gets rid of two blockers and then just buries Grovey. But the key there was the strength of Bill Hawkins' hands.
And as a result of this safety, Miami leads Arkansas 12-10. You can enjoy some rarefied air after you've just given your team a safety. Bill Hawkins, a graduate student, now studying for an MBA in finance. And he didn't start today's game because of an injured toe. But he came in and tackled the Arkansas quarterback in the end zone to give the Canes a 12-10 lead. Arkansas must kick it away with the free kick. And this is Hill at the 22, 30, 35, 40, 45 to the 48-yard line. Bubba Barrow bringing him down. Excellent field position. Well, a little bit later today, 8:30 Eastern Time, you can enjoy NBA prime time fashion. Remember this sensational 7-game war early last summer, won by Magic Johnson and the Lakers? Well, tonight, Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons will come head-to-head with the NBA champions at 8:30 Eastern Time on CBS. At the line, Steve Walsh with excellent field position, deflected away. And that was Wayne Martin, the All-American rush man for the Razorbacks.
And that is about as good as you can do against Miami. It's tough to sack Steve Walsh because he gets rid of the ball so quickly, but make him alter his throw and then get those hands up if you get close. And that was beautifully timed by Martin. It's a lost art, defensive linemen getting their hands up and tipping balls. You don't see as many guys doing it as they once did.
Gary and Conley in the backfield for Walsh. He'll throw it on 2nd and 10, hits Dawkins underneath to the Arkansas 45-yard line, leaving third and about 3. Lloyd making the stop defensively.
Very important defensive series here again for Arkansas. Again, with about 8 minutes left in the half, they don't want to give up the first down and allow them to get into field goal range or touchdown range with that 20-mile-an-hour wind behind them.
Gary is slotted to the left. Here is the toss to Conley, and he is short of the first down. Shepard leading the defensive charge.
Mike Nicole Shepard really has had a big year for the Razorbacks on defense, but he's been underrated because Wayne Martin's been getting all the credit, but he just explodes off the ball.
And Randall Hill brings the play in from the sideline. This might remind you of that 4th and goal a short time ago. It's about the same distance for the first down. And Walsh will throw for it, and he's got it. Hits his wide man, and that's Brown being forced out of bounds by Patrick Williams, and the clock is stopped at 6:49, and Miami with a fresh set of downs.
And again, it emphasizes as you watch Andre Brown, tall receiver, 6'3" there in the slot, just runs a little out route. But it emphasized down at the goal line, I think they probably should have thrown the ball because they're a much better throwing team than running.
Ball at the Arkansas 40-yard line. Gary on the delay. Battles his way for about 3 yards at most, and Reggie Hall was there defensively.
What sets this Miami team apart from most college teams is the way they use that fullback, Cleveland Gary, the most versatile fullback in all of America. They'll use him as a receiver. He's caught 50 balls on the year. They use him there on draw plays and on screens, and a blocker as well.
About the only thing that has plagued Miami this year has been turnovers. 7 times they turned it over against the Irish and 4 times against Michigan. There's the fumble, and Arkansas scoops it up.
Good call, Brent. I think he heard you, but I thought the pitch by Walsh was a little bit too hard. It looked like Conley was too close to him, and he pitched the ball very hard. It came right off Conley's shoulder pads.
Watch Chad Rowland pounce on it here.
But see, went right up into his face mask. That was really a poor pitch by Walsh. I think perhaps Conley thought it was going to be a handoff. Rowland, the nose tackle, does a nice job of staying low, taking out 2 blockers.
Now the Arkansas offense with a little room to maneuver. 1st and 10, Foster in at fullback. Grovey the quarterback. Foster right straight ahead. Strong inside runner. Kennedy bringing him down for the Canes. There are the turnover leaders and a big plus margin for the Razorbacks, who come up with another one.
It's amazing what they've done. They don't turn the ball over, only 12 on offense for the year, and on defense 21 interceptions, and they did a nice job of stripping ball carriers as well. And so you don't have to necessarily be a high-scoring team to win a games like them if you can create turnovers.
Wishbone look. 3 running backs in tight behind Grovey. He brings it down the line on the option, keeps it for the first down, crosses midfield, and he is out of bounds with Charles Farms, the freshman, number 2 in pursuit. That's a 15-yard gain for the quarterback. You might recall how much pressure Tony Rice put on them defensively. He's the Notre Dame quarterback.
And watch the little seam there. Bubba McDowell, number 48, has to take the pitch man, and that opens up that little alley for Grovey to hit. He's very adept at that.
The ball at the Miami 42-yard line. 5 minutes here in the first half. Grovey again running the option. Late pitch. Ball is loose. Miami going for it at the 30-yard line, and Arkansas trying to regain control. Miami has recovered.
We saw Steve Walsh made a 4 pitch a moment ago. That time Quinn Grovey looked like it was a late and a high pitch.
So with 5 minutes to go here in the first half, Miami gets the ball back.
Again, trying to get on the perimeter of the defense with all the big plays. That is number 20, Gatson. It came right off his face mask. A little bit too much steam on the pitch when the running back is that close to you. And watch number 63, Jimmy Jones, who's going to make that recovery. A lot of orange jerseys around the ball. Shannon at first gets it. Harden, 39, goes through his legs. and then 67 Maryland and Jones ultimately make the recovery.
And on first down, Gary sweeping to the left is down at the 34-yard line. Ty Mason making the stop. Maryland is credited with recovering that fumble for Miami.
And now with plenty of time for this Miami offense, 4:40 left here in the half with the passing attack they have.
How many times have you seen Miami take the air out of you late in the first half?
And it always seems to be with the tight end.
But they've already used a couple of timeouts. Walsh comes underneath to Conley, who has the first down, and near midfield is down at the 48-yard line. Kerry Owens bringing him down for the Razorbacks. 15 more yards for Miami.
Take a look at Leonard Conley out of the backfield. He's going to line up and then come and do a little crossing route, as will the fullback. Again, you start thinking about Cleveland Gary, and you forget sometimes about Conley, who slipped out there in the flat. His 21st catch of the year.
First and 10 for Walsh. Quick flip to Conley. Breaks a tackle, fumbles the ball. Arkansas recovers at the 41. Richard Brothers jumps on the ball.
Richard Brothers is a guy who has really sacrificed for this Arkansas team. Was pretty much a safety last year with a lot of interceptions. They moved him to corner, and he does a lot of things you don't really get a lot of credit for. Here, making the recovery on the fumble after a big hit. The ball gets stripped, and Brothers, number 9, makes the recovery.
Mason stripped it free for Arkansas. As you take another look here,
when you think about Arkansas defense, you think about a lot of guys around the ball. 4 white jerseys around that fumble.
Grovey back in the wishbone, bringing it down the line, looking for a receiver, and now he'll go to his halfback coming in behind him, Aaron Jackson.
That was kind of an interesting option. He was coming down and had the option first to throw the football, and then if that's not open, he can either keep it himself or pitch the ball to Jackson, as he did.
Second down and 2. Oklahoma's wishbone was stuffed in last year's Orange Bowl by this Miami defense, and Barry Switzer didn't get an 80-yard bolt by his fullback, which Arkansas has from Barry Foster already here this afternoon. So Arkansas has to take heart in what has transpired here so far in the first half. Second down. Grovey trying to break free, and he is down at the 44-yard line. Maurice Crum, number 49, in there defensively for the Canes. Bill Hawkins got to him first.
Maurice Crum has had a great year for the Hurricanes on defense. An outside linebacker who's their leading tackler, that is unusual.
There's a penalty marker down.
Offsetting dead ball fouls. Dead ball, personal foul. Dead ball, personal foul. Offsetting penalty. Third down.
Neither coach agrees.
Not too many coaches I know generally agree with referees' calls.
Let's take a look at exactly what happens here. Let's watch the right side of your screen. Childress, 72, was into the middle of it, and Greg Marker. So Marker and Childress mix it up a little bit. Penalties offset, and this will come down to a third down for Arkansas. They must get inside the 50, and a timeout being used right here. The Razorbacks call a timeout at the 3:23 mark. 3rd and 6 when you come back. Possession, and you would think that it's a rout by the Hurricanes of Miami, but they lead it only because of that safety 12-10. But then again, it doesn't take too long to run 80 yards, does it? Arkansas's tying touchdown came on that 80-yard bolt by Foster. Then Hawkins tackling the Arkansas quarterback in the end zone for the safety. And the Canes are up by 2. Foster short of the first down. 4th down at the 3:17 mark near midfield. Jimmy Jones bringing him down, number 63. And the Razorbacks forced to punt.
Jimmy Jones has as much raw talent and ability as anybody on this Miami defense. And this defense is coordinated by Dave Wanstead, one of the young, bright defensive minds in the country. Really has done a nice job.
The thing to watch here with Meacham in punt formation is number 48, Bubba McDowell. Back to return is Spencer. 10 men up on the front for the Canes. McDowell gets off the mark, comes in on it, but can't get it. But he pressured the kicker. And it'll roll dead at the 12-yard line. That's a 40-yard punt. 2.5 minutes for Miami.
This is the 3rd time that McDowell has done that. Like I said, he's blocked 8 kicks, and it's all a matter of timing and taking the right path to the kicker. Even if he doesn't block that, he's not going to run into the kicker.
Pat, he anticipated the snap that time. He was almost offside.
You need the jump if you're going to block the field goal, the punt, and sometimes that can happen.
Steve Walsh with the wind at his back. Gary is slotted to his left. Conley is his halfback. Dawkins and Brown are his wide men. Incomplete. And there's a penalty flag thrown by the linesman.
Looked like Kerry Owens was offside, the outside linebacker for the Hogs.
Illegal formation, not enough men on the line of scrimmage, off men.
And let's go downstairs to John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Brent, I was behind the Miami bench before, and Tom Wise, the offensive line coach, ripped into his offensive linemen, especially Bruce and Sullivan, saying, hey, you got to pick up those stunts, especially the in-tackle games. They haven't been doing it. He also says, hey, we have to be able to run the 19 toss to Connolly.
The penalty was declined. It will be 2nd and 10.
That is Bruce Davis, the defensive line coach of Miami, talking to his front 4.
Arkansas still looking for some passing yardage here. Hard to beat this Cane defense. And Conley close to the 20-yard line, and a penalty marker comes down again on the far side. O'Neal, who was shaken up earlier, back in the game in that offensive line.
Face mask, defense.
Did he get the mask, Pat? Could you tell? I certainly couldn't.
Let's have a look here. Here's Conley, the tailback, coming through. They called just a 5-yard face mask penalty. It looks like he has his hand on his shoulder, not the mask. Never got the mask on that call.
The official who called it was on the far side when the flag went down. He saw the hand and the arm raked across the jersey high, and he felt that he raked across that face mask. So there have been 2 tough calls against Arkansas. If you did not join us early in the game, there was a fumble on the first series, but the officials ruled that the ball was down. That gave Miami an opportunity to march for a field goal. Now this gives the Canes a first down at the 2-minute mark here in the first half. Walsh sends everybody out. It's Chudzinski underneath, and he hammers close to a first down. Harper making still another hit defensively for the Razorbacks.
And the Miami team will carve you apart at the end of a game or a half with the tight end. They did right there to Chudzinski. They've got 1 timeout remaining, Miami does.
They're going to measure here. Chains will come across. That's why the officials have stopped play. So Walsh quickly wants to get the play in and get it called here. He has 1:50 with which to work. He's asking for the signal, but obviously he's not going to get it until they find out whether or not it's a first down. And Gary Stevens upstairs in the booth will send it down on the headset, and then it will be signaled in. Now the clock will start running again.
And when you have 1 timeout remaining, you can use the whole field. You can throw an inside route as well as the outside route.
Richard Brothers, shaken up, is off the field defensively for the Razorbacks. Walsh under pressure this time, and down he goes, Chad Rowland, and that is unusual to see Steve Walsh sacked. He is the toughest quarterback in college football to bring down. That's only the 3rd time this year, and Rowland just broke through and buried him.
And it was a terrific spin move by Chad Rowland, nose tackle number 51. Gets low, makes the spin. Fred Goldsmith, a defensive coordinator, said he's our slowest guy, but our best pass rusher.
Quickly they come up and they hit Gary, who slips free out to the 34-yard line. They had 22 yards to go for the first down, and they'll still have about 12, and we're inside of a minute. 1 timeout remaining, operating without the huddle. Walsh will call the play at the line. Walsh back again, has plenty of time this time, and it is complete near midfield for the first down. The clock is stopped while they move the chains. 40 seconds remaining. Brown, the wide receiver, made the catch. And now 40 seconds to move 50 yards. For Miami, that can be an eternity. Penalty marker now comes down on the far side.
The nice thing that Steve Walsh has done here, he realizes that they stop the clock when they move the chains. Carlos Huerta warming up.
Dead ball. Offense line up in the neutral zone. First down.
Not as much concerned about the penalty right now as they are the time on the clock. They still have the 1 timeout remaining.
What do you think? Miami a little sloppy here in the first half? They're coming off that big win over LSU. Maybe Arkansas didn't have their attention until now.
You're right. I was talking to the defensive coordinator, Dave Wanstead, and he was concerned about that. An emotional win last week against LSU.
Emotion's such a big part of college football. Walsh back, zips it complete to Gary, who turns, gets inside midfield, and bolts to the 44, and penalty markers all over the place. Now, with that win, a few more yards here because of a late hit, and Carlos Huerta moves within field goal range. This is a mistake on the Razorbacks' part.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Defense, late hit. First down.
You're going to see the late hit here, but what it really does is allow Steve Walsh to still have that timeout remaining as well. Gary is clearly down. Wasn't a hard hit, but it was late by number 70, Phillips. Again, clearly they're in field goal range, but with 17 seconds, they can take a shot or two for the end zone.
Well, the key here is that they've still got a timeout, so they can get the clock stopped. Now starts to run again. Walsh will take a shot. Deflected, incomplete. Now it stops at 7, and they'll need Huerta.
That's the 3rd tip, I think, by this Arkansas defense, and that's a nice game plan as you watch Phillips, number 70, a highly thought-of freshman. He gets that right paw up there.
His daddy, Lloyd Phillips, was a great player out of Arkansas.
Won the Outland Trophy in 1965, and they think he is going to be a great player.
Huerta with a 45-yard attempt. On its way, Carlos Huerta puts the Canes up by 5. Splendid walk-on kicker. It was 38-0 at the half, Miami. With just 3 ticks of the clock left, the Canes lead it by 5, 15-10. And Edgar Bennis with the ball on the tee and ready to go here. The official hasn't given them the signal that we're back from commercial. Standing down here on the left 20. Now they get the word and we're ready to go. Kicks it on the ground. Picked up at the 25-yard line by Harshaw. And he blasts his way out to the 34. And the end of a good first half. Barry Foster brought Arkansas back into this game with an explosive 80-yard touchdown run. Nobody can catch the Razorbacks' leading rusher when he breaks free like that. And with the score tied at 10, Miami inserted their injured defensive rush man, Bill Hawkins. And his first tackle was a timely one. He took Quentin Grovey down in the end zone for a 2-point safety. Miami added a field goal. They lead at 15-10. Right now, let's send you to New York. And here is Jim Nantz. Jim, take it away.
Well, thank you, Brent. Coming up at halftime, Aaron and I will have scores and highlights. Plus, we'll show you an interview we had about an hour ago, having some fun with Magic and Isaiah as they get prepared for tonight's game you'll see on CBS between the Lakers and Pistons. Plus, we'll talk with the Magic Man from college football. Barry Sanders, the great running back from Oklahoma State, will join us live after this message and a word from your local station.
The Prudential College Football Report is sponsored by The Prudential. Your Prudential representative goes above and beyond to meet your needs in insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, your rock in financial services.
Welcome back to New York, everybody. Miami leading over Arkansas 15-10. By the way, the same score of our game yesterday in which Auburn beat Alabama. 15-10. Let's serve up some respect for the Razorbacks here, Aaron.
Well, I think they surprised a few of the fans out there expecting an overwhelming win by the Hurricanes. They earned my respect, and they're very much in this game, Jim.
Some big plays in the first half, and first of all, what a play by Steve Walsh. A fake to set up a touchdown here for the Hurricanes.
Beautiful throw here by Walsh, who I think has had the greatest year in college football. Great throw into the wind right there to Dawkins. They put the ball on the 1-yard line. They scored. Now, watch this. Foster just popped through the line. Barry Foster. The Hurricanes overrun it slightly. He goes 80 yards right up the middle. No one has done this against the Hurricanes in years. And what a great goal line stand here by the Razorbacks. Conley is stopped. 4th down and 1. And I wonder whether or not Jimmy Johnson wishes he took the 3 points.
Probably does, but a safety was scored shortly thereafter, plus a field goal by Huerta, and Miami leads by 5 at the half. Let's run down now a limited scoreboard here on this Saturday. Of course, later today, it'll be Notre Dame against USC. The battle out at the Coliseum, #1 against #2. The Irish have won 5 straight games against the Trojans. Ara, what about this contest for Notre Dame?
Well, I think it's 2 evenly matched teams, and as I was looking at the statistics, you take a team like Southern California, it's just giving up 68 yards a game. I think the key for fans that are following the Notre Dame team is to see whether or not they can develop some kind of a running attack that maintains the ball. For Southern California, a year ago, they could not stop Notre Dame's option. And a team that's just giving up 68 yards this year gave up 365 yards to Notre Dame a year ago. Those are the 2 keys that I see in this ballgame.
I don't mean to alarm you. Here's a trend, though, that's been happening lately. When #2 plays #1, #2 has won the last 4 games in a row, Coach. That's
Thanks.
later today. Notre Dame against USC. Let's take a look at the rest of the action. Florida and Florida State. #5 Seminoles, of course, going to be in the Sugar Bowl against Auburn. Winners yesterday again over Alabama. That game will be later tonight in Tallahassee. Now, Rice is playing against Houston in the Dome. This is in the 2nd quarter. Rice has the longest losing streak in the nation at 17 in a row. A remarkable job this year by Jack Pardee, the coach of the Cougars, who are trying to close out the regular season with a win today that would make them 9-2 on the season. #20, Georgia going against Georgia Tech. Tech has just kicked the field goal just seconds before the half. Bulldogs lead it by 7 to 1 touchdown. Tim Worley. Worley taking it in from 4 yards out. He's gone over 2,000 yards on his career as of today. Only the 7th Bulldog running back ever to accomplish that. And Vince Dooley is going for win #200 on his career if Georgia can win today against Georgia Tech. Temple and BC, 2 3-7 teams trying to close out the season on a high note. Temple leads in this one. 2 big plays for touchdowns, an 80-yard touchdown pass, and a 74-yard interception return for a touchdown by Pat Douglas of the Owls. In Division II playoff action, the Citadel leads Georgia Southern as Gene Brown has scored 2 touchdowns for the Citadel as Division I AA playoff action. Elsewhere, Western Kentucky and Western Illinois, the Hilltoppers lead the Leathernecks, perhaps the greatest name in college football nicknames, Western Illinois Leathernecks. Elsewhere, it's Delaware and Furman. Furman with an early touchdown, and the Paladins lead that one over the Blue Hens. And North Texas against Marshall. That's early action and scoreless in that game. And when we come back, we'll liven things up with a touch of magic and Isaiah, too, as we look ahead to tonight's big NBA battle. And the Prudential College Football Report will continue here on CBS. Downtown at Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks are hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Knicks lead just before the half by 13 points. Watch this play now. The block by Kenny Skywalker. He gets the outlet pass, and Patrick Ewing will finish it off. He has 22 points, does Patrick Ewing, to this point, and the Knicks lead the Cavs by 13. Now tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time, a special primetime presentation of the season premiere of the NBA on CBS. And it's a rematch of the Lakers and Pistons, who went down to the wire in last year's finals, of course. Now, Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas led their teams through the early rounds to set up a meeting of a close personal friendship that would establish the pecking order in the NBA. But the grueling 7-game series had its moments when tempers flared. And in the end, it was Magic who did the celebrating once again. Now, earlier I spoke with both stars, and I asked Isaiah if the two talked about their series over the summer.
We talked about the finals one time, and we both said how difficult it was playing against each other under those adverse conditions, because we both wanted to win a championship very badly, but yet we were emotionally tied to each other. And, you know, it was a difficult period for both of us, but you know, we still love each other. I still don't like the way he threw me down.
Isaiah, it has been now 5 months since the loss in the NBA Finals, and of course the Detroit Pistons had a chance to put it away in Game 6 before losing in Game 7. With the loss lingering in your minds now for this longest stretch, how difficult has it been for you and your teammates to deal with it?
Well, it hasn't been difficult at all. You know, last year it was a great season for us. It was a plus for us. You know, we took one step further. We learned some valuable lessons through the experience of playing against the Lakers. You know, similar to the experiences that we learned playing against the Celtics. We had to, you know, beat our head against the door and fall down a couple of times to understand how important things are in the finals, and hopefully we've learned that lesson.
Well, I know you both are big college football fans, and Magic, I've seen you at a few football games this year. How about a pick from each of you for this year's Heisman Trophy? Who do you like?
Well, it's sort of hard to not consider Sanders from Oklahoma State. He's accomplished so much, but also Rodney Peete has got to be considered with their 10-0, and he's done all the things that you're supposed to do. I thought Troy Aikman at the beginning was a shoe-in, but since UCLA has fallen off, it's definitely come down to Peete and Sanders in my mind. What about you, Isaiah?
You know, I think you're right.
But what we want you to do, the NBA is back on CBS, and who are the two teams playing tonight?
The Bad Boys and the Glamour Boys.
All right. And Tyson and
Tyson.
You Tyson? So you won't knock me out tonight, will you?
Of attraction. You slammed me last year.
I didn't mean to, though.
Yeah, right.
I was mad. They kept slamming me.
Bama.
You know?
Well, this Love Fest will pause tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time, and we'll have the game for you in prime time tonight here on CBS. And as for the Heisman Trophy, well, Barry Sanders of Oklahoma State, we'll talk with him live when the Prudential College Football Report continues here on CBS. Performances this season. The junior sensation spent the holiday weekend at home with his family in Wichita, Kansas, where he joins us now live, along with his father, William. Barry and Mr. Sanders, welcome to the College Football Report. You know, Barry, last week after your contest, we heard you say that you had to credit your teammates as well as your father for sticking by you for all of your success. Could you two explain that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, my father, all my life, he's given me confidence, and, you know, he's always told me that I could do anything I wanted to do, and that confidence has helped me develop into a good player and a good person.
Mr. Sanders, how about a word about Barry and what an outstanding, not only, of course, athlete he is, but individual as well?
Well, Jim, I'm more proud of Barry as a son than I am an athlete. And all his life, he's sort of been put back on the shelf, and I'm really proud of him. I'm proud to be here with him today, represent him as my son. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with him.
You know, Barry, this is Ara Parseghian, and I did a little recruiting in my time, and I just wondered how Oklahoma let you get away, and also how heavily were you recruited when you came out of high school?
Well, I wasn't heavily recruited at all. You know, I was small, and, you know, I don't resent people for not recruiting me because, you know, it's sort of a gamble to take a guy that's, you know, too short and vulnerable to getting hurt. And there's no harsh feelings. I'm just happy I had the opportunity to play at Oklahoma State, and hopefully we'll have continued success there. I'm very happy there.
Well, Barry, nothing you can do about it, but next week, instead of being at the Downtown Athletic Club when the award, of course, is announced, you'll be in Tokyo for a game against Texas Tech. How do you feel about missing out on that?
Well, it's no big deal. My parents will get to go, and, you know, they'll enjoy it more than I would. It's a big thing for them, and if I win it, they deserve a lot of credit, along with my offensive line and my fullback. You know, it just has been a whole team effort. And that's why I've been able to have the success that I've had this year.
Well, Barry, one last question. What about the USC-Notre Dame game this afternoon? And, of course, Rodney Peete's right in the thick of the chase as well for that coveted award.
It'll be a close game. Hopefully Rodney will play exceptional, and so they'll go ahead and give him the trophy.
All right, Barry Sanders, best of luck. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you next week live via satellite from Tokyo during the Heisman Show. And Mr. Sanders, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Barry Sanders. And, of course, we'll find out who wins this year's Heisman Trophy 1 week from now at 5:30 Eastern Time. We'll be at the Downtown Athletic Club to bring you the Heisman Trophy Award following the Army-Navy game.
15-10 Miami over Arkansas, and Pat, you were impressed by that Razorback defense.
Yeah, I think they really did a nice job, particularly the nose tackle, Chad Rowland, and on the 2 runs that Miami had inside the 5-yard line when they kept them out of the end zone, they did a great job of pressuring Steve Walsh as well.
Well, that 44-yard pass setting up the touchdown. His knee was down on the 1-yard line, then Gary went in for the score. Now let's present this week's Toyota Leadership Awards to those players who've been singled out by their coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performance in the areas of academics and citizenship. The winner, Steve Atwater from Arkansas, finance and banking major, and Bernard Clark from Miami. He's a business management major from Tampa, Florida. And Toyota will donate a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. And we will continue with the second half from the Orange Bowl in Miami, with the Canes leading by 5 right after these messages from your local stations.
College football. Today's CFA game is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. Coors Light, there's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now. And by GMAC, the official sponsor of America's Dreams.
Favored by 17, Miami leads Arkansas by 5, 15-10. Kendall Traynor to kick it off for the Razorbacks, who turned in a fine first half here against the #3 team in the nation. Traynor hammers it to Hill, and he elects to down it right there. A short time ago, John Dockery caught up with Miami coach Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy, a sluggish first half. Were you flat after last week's big win?
Well, we kind of expected that, you know, after the big win a year ago and then a big win last week. We were not sharp. We turned the football over, and not scoring down there on the 4th and 1 really hurt us and took a lot out of us. And we had a breakdown in our defense on the long run. But we'll be all right this half. We'll go back and we'll play like we know how to play.
Let me ask you this quickly. Why on so close to the goal line? You're a great passing team. Why did you run twice?
Because we thought it was there.
Thank you, Coach.
And the pass was there, John, to Gary on first down as they start the second half. Thank you very much. The difference in the game scoring, Hawkins tackling the Arkansas quarterback for a safety, and then Huerta pounding home his 18th field goal of the season and tying the Miami record. Steve Walsh has had some difficulty, Pat Hayden, with the low pass being deflected here this afternoon.
He had 3 balls tipped in the first half by an alert Arkansas defense.
Second and short after that pass to Gary, electing to keep it on the ground, and a great hit by Otis Lloyd. He may be small, but he's effective. Let's take a look, Pat, at some of the numbers from the first half, and you can tell us their significance.
Well, Miami certainly controlled the clock, but again, it was the 2 turnovers, I think, by Miami, which was really the key that stopped and slowed them down. The rushing yards, Miami has not run the ball well all year. I'm surprised that Arkansas, who has thrown the ball this year pretty well, does not have any passing yards.
And they moved on down the field after that big punt. Now Walsh on 3rd down, passes to Conley for the first down, and the ball out to the 36-yard line. LaSalle Harper, the linebacker, making the stop after a 12-yard gain.
Boy, Steve Walsh really hung in there when he faced a free safety blitz by Steve Atwater, number 27. But Atwater, coming from this free safety position, got there way too late, and Walsh got the easy completion for the first.
Atwater's 27. Played a lot of high school basketball, but elected to concentrate on football. Miami's offensive line down in the ready. Walsh will run on first down, and Conley couldn't get anywhere, and you've got to be impressed by the Razorbacks' sharp tackling here this afternoon. That was Kerry Owens, the senior from Stuttgart, Arkansas. They must have had some high school team at Stuttgart for the number of players who are
3 different players,
showing up
right.
big.
But look at Kerry Owens. He's number 54 from the backside. He is the most versatile player on this defense. That time he comes from the backside. He ordinarily lines up over the tight end, but he can play in pass coverage and stuff you on the run as well.
I'll tell you, these kids from Arkansas are impressive with their tackling. Next up for them, the Mobile Cotton Bowl and the Bruins of UCLA. Over the middle, incomplete, wanted Conley. Had to rush that one. It'll be 3rd and long. And again, the Razorback defense standing up tall. I think Conley objecting a little bit there. He's going to grab him by the ankle. Might have gotten his hand stepped on the way he looked at his fingers as he walked away, and perhaps that's why he was upset.
And Arkansas is doing everything that it needs to stay in this game. By keeping it a low-scoring game, they're giving their kicker perhaps a chance to win it in the 4th quarter. That's where they want to get themselves into the 4th quarter where they can win it.
I think in Summerall's time, they had that little Razorback there on the left leg of the uniform pants. 3rd down and long now. Razorbacks drop off into pass coverage. Almost intercepted. Pass intended for Gary, and Owens was concentrating on Gary as the receiver, and the pass was off its mark.
We just talked about how Kerry Owens, number 54, is a versatile player. He ran a play down behind, this time in pass coverage. Although Gary was open, the ball was thrown behind him. But Kerry Owens, number 54, is there to make the play.
I'll bet Frank Broyles, the athletic director at Arkansas, is enjoying. Watch this one back home. He doesn't travel on the road. He, of course, a Hall of Fame coach with the Razorbacks. He coached both of our coaches here this afternoon, Hatfield and Johnson. They were on his championship team. This has been a mighty successful year for the Razorbacks. Here's a booming punt by Kalal. Fielded at the 15 by Horton, and down short of the 20. So, of course, tonight at 8:30 Eastern time, prime time, Lakers and the Pistons. Pat, I got a good idea for everybody. I know for the rest of the afternoon, it'll be a nice day to get your Christmas shopping done after our Miami, Arkansas. Why don't you take the family out, spend a little time at the zoo the rest of the day, and then make sure you're back at 8:30. That's when you want to be back, and take a look at the Lakers and the Pistons. We'll also hear from Larry Bird live at halftime.
I don't know about you, but I may be watching a little bit of that Skins game, see if there's any holes in one myself. I don't know about you, Brent.
Skins? I don't know anything about a Skins game. The last time I played a Skins game was with you and Jimmy Tubbs and John Love back in Connecticut. I don't know anything about it. Personal foul against the Canes. And the ball will come out to the 34-yard line. John Bland returns to start at quarterback. He opened the game. Bland threw 3 incomplete passes. They're still looking for their first completion. He's flushed out of that pocket by the rush, and he made the most of it. That was Greg Martin bringing him down. Bland is a fascinating story for Arkansas. His father led the NCAA in kickoff returns the same year that Hatfield led the nation in punt returns at Arkansas. Bland's daddy was playing at Mississippi State, and the young man was born in Starkville, Mississippi. His father was his high school coach, and I'm sure he is hopeful that his son can get some passing yards on the board here for Arkansas. He'll try it again under a left, couldn't even get it off, buried by Maryland.
Coaches say that Russell Maryland has the kind of feet that Jerome Brown did. Kind of a dancer's feet, even though he's a big guy, number 67. A quick move there right past Childress, number 72, their best offensive lineman. But those quick feet allow him to make a quick move, get past the offensive guard and into the quarterback.
3rd down and long for the Razorbacks. Very physical, but I think even more important than that with the Miami defense is the great speed that they possess from sideline to sideline. Bland, incomplete. He just threw it up in the air and was hopeful that Derek Russell was somewhere in the neighborhood.
You called that one incomplete. It was still up in the air for about 2 seconds. You were confident about that call. McDowell has been close to blocking punts all afternoon.
Alan Meacham, the Razorback punter. They came after him again, and he got it off. Spencer at the 22. 30. Down at the 33-yard line, and that was Greg Switzer, number 53. So Barry's son Greg, a walk-on linebacker, comes down and makes a splendid hit. I'm sure Daddy's applauding back home in Norman. We'll be right back. Arkansas headed to the Mobile Cotton Bowl in Dallas, and Miami will stay right here and take on Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. That Arkansas defense held its head high here today. 1st and 10 for the Canes, who lead by 5. On 1st down, Walsh underneath to Conley, and he's down at the 40-yard line. Let's get on to John Dockery. Doc.
Brent, I'm here with a man, Jimmy Williams from the Cotton Bowl, who played with both these coaches. How good were they?
Everybody's great after 23 years. Johnson was a really good nose guard for 200 pounds, and Hatfield led the nation for 2 years in punt returns. So, outstanding guy. And of course, everybody that played then, being undefeated, we were national champions. And
how about your matchup in the Cotton Bowl?
Oh, it's going to be great. You can see this great defensive team of Arkansas and their running attack from quarterback. It's going to be a great matchup between that and Aikman and the throwing arm from UCLA.
Thanks, Jimmy. Brent?
Well, that promo was going on, Doc. That defense gave up a 1st down that time. LaSalle Harper making a hit. But actually, Jimmy's absolutely right. Arkansas playing very well, and I think probably restoring some prestige to the Southwest Conference, which has been its own worst enemy here during the last decade. Schools going on probation, and seems like one scandal after another. And Arkansas has kept itself clean and untarnished so far, and it's nice to see them being rewarded by going to the Cotton Bowl. Walsh throws it underneath to Conley here, and now Conley breaks free, and he's got a 1st down to 35, and the Canes on the move, and they seem to be playing a little more crisply than they were in the 1st half. That's a 16-yard gain.
And they're playing crispy because people like Leonard Conley are doing a nice job of catching the ball. Again, watch the protection that Walsh gets. Gets him plenty of time to dump the ball off short. And Conley, although he is only 170 pounds, he's a physical 170 pounds. He's a strong running back who will break some tackles.
He's caught 6 passes today for 69 yards. This would be a big series if Arkansas can hold the line. They hammered Gary, and they'll be left with 2nd and long. That was Reggie Hall making the hit.
Brent, you were talking about the Southwest Conference. I was talking to a few of the Arkansas players yesterday, John Bland and Rick Kapolskis in particular, and they were saying it's going to be nice to have the whole Southwest Conference united behind us today for at least 3 hours to hopefully beating Miami.
You bet. Walsh off a quick drop, throwing far side, complete to Hill. He stepped out of bounds close to the 1st down.
When there's loose coverage and you throw the out pattern on time, you cannot stop it. And that's what happened right there. Big cushion for Hill. Walsh threw the ball on time, and that's an easy completion.
And Brothers goes off the field injured again, too. But now he'll limp back. Number 9 is limping back into that defensive huddle a little bit. That's how much Miami must go for the 1st down. Walsh giving the coaches an indication so they can put the play up here on 3rd and short.
As a quarterback and a coordinator, when you see a defensive corner limp in like that, you have to think of going to work on him.
He's got to leave. He can't make it. And upstairs, they note that in the booth. And Ben Floor, number 38. He's a sophomore out of Mesquite, Texas. 6 foot, 188 pounds. He steps into that spot, and it will not be long before he's challenged by this offense. 3rd and short. Walsh throws for the 1st down. Conley fumbles the ball. No, it's being called incomplete. Did not have possession according to the officials, and Otis Lloyd, all 5'9", 198, coming over there.
Again, the ball is thrown quickly, but Lloyd gets a tremendous break on the ball. I thought he had caught that ball, actually, Brent.
Oh, when I saw it live, I certainly thought he caught it and was turning.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can see how he handled it on the turn.
I think he had possession there.
Hard to tell. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see here. He had it.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's that little turn that he makes. Here's Cleveland Gary, and they swarm all over him. Boy, did they hold the fort again. Reggie Hall gets in there on the hit. Miami turns it over.
This is the second time on 4th down the Razorback defense has gotten great penetration. Reggie Hall, also Kerry Owens, 4 white jerseys. Chad Rowland was in there as well. Great team defense on 4th down.
Things have not gone Miami's way. They're only 2 of 4 on short 4th down. They were stopped once going in. Now they go back to the option quarterback, Grovey, number 4. Foster's the big fullback in there for Ken Hatfield. Coming down the line. He keeps it off the fake and bolts free. Grovey cross midfield. Bobby Harden finally brings him down, but that was a 25-yard burst for the Razorback quarterback.
The coaches told me that Quinn Grovey is the best option quarterback they've ever had at Arkansas. Some good blocking. He faked the pitch there to Aaron Jackson to get past the last defender. And what Ken Hatfield likes so much about this option attack, you don't have to block 2 defenders. You option off them.
Grovey is 5'10", 179 pounds. He's one who's got away from Coach Barry Switzer. Duncan, Oklahoma. He saw the likes of Jamel Holloway. He said, all head to the Razorbacks. And now they come with Aaron Jackson. Rod Carter, the middleman, tackles him. And this will leave Arkansas with a 2nd and long. Pat, for a team that hasn't completed a pass yet, Arkansas is hanging tough in this game. They're down by 5 with 7:40, but it's hard to believe that Hatfield or anybody else could upset the Hurricanes unless you get some yardage through the air.
Yeah, and coming into the game, they fully expected they were going to be able to complete some passes. As a matter of fact, their first pass in the game was 1.
But doing a good job of running the ball. 80 yards on one play for a touchdown. They show blitz, and they hand off and pound right into that position, getting to the 39-yard line with Barry Foster, the man who bolted that 80 yards.
Arkansas's option attack is a little bit different, for example, than, say, Oklahoma. Oklahoma comes up with the big plays on the corner of the defense. Arkansas, it's usually right up the middle with this man, Barry Foster. They get a good block from their center, Crawford again, and then Foster kind of picks his way and breaks a couple of tackles.
So he's carried 5 times for 22 yards and 1 time for 80 yards here this afternoon. 3rd and short. Stuffed. It'll be 4th down. The ball carrier was Joe Johnson, and Rod Carter brought him down. Number 91 was moved to the middle by Johnson.
And if you want to stay healthy, you stay at a Rod Carter's territory. A very physical inside player who has some speed.
He does indeed look pretty physical. That stained jersey there in front. Looks like somebody had a bloody nose out there on the field.
Candidate for the All-Madden team, maybe.
You bet. 4th down and 2 yards to go. And Grovey throws for it, and he's wide open. 15, 10, first down for Arkansas. They throw the ball to Barry Foster coming out of the backfield for 31 yards.
And a terrific call. You wait and you wait and you wait, and you get in a short yardage situation. Everybody's inside. Look at 91. Carter on the inside goes to the play fake. So does Shannon, 22, the outside linebacker. That really is his area. And Foster just slipped right behind him. Nice little touch on the ball by Grovey. And again, a big play for the Razorback offense.
Giving Hatfield and the Razorbacks a 1st and goal. 5:40. Wind at their back here in the 3rd quarter. They trail Miami by 5. Grovey runs the option. This is Johnson, and he's out of bounds far side. Didn't gain anything on that. Randy Shannon getting him out for the Hurricanes, and it'll be 2nd and goal.
Option attack is probably one of the best offenses you can run when you get inside the 10-yard line, because you have a couple of different alternatives of getting the ball in the end zone. And then remember, if they do score the touchdown, they will go for 2 to make it a 3-point game.
Aaron!
Grovey works the line, and the pitch man was sealed up. Bubba McDowell coming up quickly from the secondary with run support, getting him out of bounds, and there was absolutely no daylight. And this will put Arkansas in a 3rd and goal with the line of scrimmage back at the Canes 11-yard line.
Go in there. Give me right doubles this time. Do what you can to make it in. Right doubles this time. 9 quarterback draw. Right doubles, 9 quarterback draw.
So we're going to see what Grovey can do here on 3rd down. Earlier in the first half, he had a splendid quarterback draw. Late substitution by Miami. Grovey pulling it out. Penalty markers come down as he pulled it out, and time was expiring on the 25-second clock.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense.
Looked like the right guard.
Did a guard jump on it, Pat?
It looked like the right guard, Childress, again moves and steps up a little bit too early. He's been beaten quickly a couple times by Maryland. That's why he did that.
Now the ball is back at the 16-yard line. It's 3rd and goal. That was Lindsey, a tight end, bringing the play in. Grovey pulls back under pressure, can't spot an open receiver. Throws back, wide open, touchdown, Arkansas. Number 18, Barry Foster, scores again.
He should go for 2 to try to make it a 3-point ball game.
A lot more resistance from his alma mater today. Pat, I don't think there's any question, but you were right about what he wants to do here.
Stand there. Aaron's out. Aaron's out. I'm done.
Now they want to make sure they got the right men on the field here and not waste a timeout. Oh, you hate to see that on the sidelines. Some confusion as to who should be on the field. That'll hurt you when you have that, and it's just unfortunate.
On sale at all area Bass outlets, Ticketmaster locations, the Heck Athletic Center, and Gate 14 here at the Orange Bowl. For more information, call 1-800-GO-CANES. And a reminder, kickoff for the Brigham Young game next Saturday here at the Orange Bowl.
Well, this, of course, we're continuing our Thanksgiving weekend football feast, and tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern time, we'll start with the NFL today and the opening games of our doubleheader. Phoenix at Philadelphia, Green Bay at Chicago, Tampa Bay at Atlanta, and then the key late game. We'll send you to Mile High Stadium in Denver. It'll be the Rams and the Broncos, followed by San Francisco at San Diego, which a few of you will see, especially those of you up in the San Francisco area. And we'll be along at 12:30 Eastern time with the NFL today. Let's take a look at that touchdown full throw. Foster worked himself wide open. This was a freelance play all the way, and give Grovey great credit for his vision when he picked up the fullback who broke free in the end zone. A dangerous throw, but he had him wide open, and he got in for the score that time. Now, after the discussion and the timeout being used by Arkansas, they lead it by 1, 16-15, and they'll go for 2. And Grovey being chased, turns around on the run. He'll have to throw this 40 yards into the end zone. There's a penalty marker down. Penalty marker down. It is no good.
There was a clip. Russell Maryland got clipped.
We had a clip. No good, no replay.
So it's a one-point game. You know what that play reminded me of? Fran Tarkenton in his early days. Except Fran probably would have made it. We'll be right back. Last loss in the Orange Bowl to Florida back in 1985. Trailing Arkansas 16-15. 5 minutes, third quarter. Trainer hammers it to Hill. He'll down it there, and it'll come out at the 20-yard line, Pat.
Fred, 2 players to watch here. First, the fullback, Barry Foster, who fakes the block before he goes out. He's lined up here. He's going to come out here. But watch Quinn Grovey as he scrambles around. Ultimately goes way back here and then throws the ball into Foster. Tremendous athleticism here by Grovey. Foster fakes the play. He blocks. He blocks. He sees Grovey in trouble, and then he releases. Ordinarily, you don't throw the ball late down the middle unless you throw it for a touchdown.
1st and 10 for Miami. They run Gary, finds daylight, and he blasts his way to the 28-yard line. One thing we've noticed this year, the big number with Miami is 31. They buried Florida State in their opener 31-0. Came back dramatically to beat Michigan 31-30. Then lost to Notre Dame 31-30. Beat East Carolina 31-7. Take out the calculators here. 16-15. We're sitting on 31. Quick run to the roulette wheel in Las Vegas. Walsh hands it off, and here's Garrett. He's out to the 32-yard line.
You know, Miami has been lethargic on offense, and other than the one big play to Dale Dawkins in the first half, they really haven't had many throws and runs after the catch.
Arkansas doing a fine job defensively. Good, sharp tackling by the Razorbacks so far. Can they hold up? Well, we'll find out. Ball's at the 32. Off a play fake. Walsh throwing near side, almost intercepted. That was Otis Lloyd again, number 36, and the little big man got up in the air.
You know, it really is remarkable. He is only 5'8", but you can see the strength in his legs. The ball doesn't have a lot of velocity, and I thought Lloyd was going to pick it up, but it was really at the top of his jump and just off his fingertips. But good coverage again by Lloyd.
2nd and 10 for Miami. Trailing Arkansas by a point, 16-15. They'll get the wind at their back for the last quarter. And Rowland came in and nailed Prohl. So with John Dockery and Pat Hayden, I'm Brent Musburger at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Glad to have you around this afternoon. We've seen a dandy here so far. The Hurricanes took a 3-0 lead, took a 10-3 lead, went up 15-10, and they have fallen behind as the Razorbacks showing great heart here so far. A 17-point underdog leading by a point. And Walsh has got Dawkins. He bobbled the ball, and let's see, they're going to spot it and give him the first down. His forward progress gave him the first down, but he seemed to bobble it just a fraction of a second.
And he was thinking big play. That's why he bobbled. He saw the little open thing. He was going to turn and try to break the tackle of Floor, and he thought he was going to go the distance.
Ball is at the Miami 43-yard line. Walsh again throwing on first down. Now under pressure, runs away from it. Slides down and is hit there at the 47. That was Hall and Owens defensively. Downstairs to John Dockery. Doc.
You see Richard Brothers behind me, one of the senior defensive backs, one of the best defensive backs for Arkansas. He probably won't be back. You see him on his hand on his right leg. He pulled that hip flexor muscle. It's pretty painful. I doubt if we'll see him again, Brent.
Pat, that's a blow to the Razorback defense.
He has played very well all year. Again, does some of the subtle things you don't see much. Always plays the right coverage, jams the receiver. They're going to miss him some.
Nice job by the defensive assistants here for Arkansas this afternoon. Now they face that second down, and they did not give up the first down that time. They buried Kroll with Ty Mason making the hit.
You know, a year ago, Miami ran the ball very well against Arkansas, and Fred Goldsmith, the defensive coordinator, says we cannot let them run the ball. We know they're going to gain some yards through the air, and they've done a pretty good job of shutting down Miami's run.
Got a 3rd and 3 coming up for the Canes. Need to get to the 47 for a first down. Walsh with time, and he's got it to Chudzinski. First down, Miami.
Get a quarterback's view of this thing. Again, Rob Chudzinski just has a sense of where people are. Just can float inside that middle of the defense, maybe 10 or 15 yards down the field, and does a great job of finding a soft spot and then catching the ball.
And against Hatfield's defense, Walsh 27 of 39 for 302 yards so far. Now they again cannot get daylight with Owens shutting down the outside that time against Kroll. Cannot move the ball on the ground against the Razorbacks. This will be 2nd and long.
And when they haven't been able, although they've only sacked Steve Walsh once, they have tipped some balls and put some pressure and made him adjust back there in the pocket.
Final minute, 3rd quarter. Walsh under pressure to Gary, short of a first down. Hit quickly by Williams.
Cleveland Gary is an amazing receiver. Caught 11 balls against Notre Dame, 7 today.
I'm sure that many of you know the story. He went up to Georgia originally. Herschel Walker was his hero. They had an abundance of great backs, and so he transferred here to Miami. Fine young baseball player. Has not played baseball so far for Ron Frazier. Walsh on a quick throw wanted Gary and overthrew him that time, and it'll be 4th down. Gary hadn't turned around to look at his quarterback.
And Steve Walsh says he can read a blitz by the eyes of the linebackers on defense. He saw the eyes of the linebackers, saw the blitz, tried to dump it quickly to Gary, but Gary wasn't looking.
Miami coming out to set up in punt formation. We say set up because once before in this game they ran the fake with the short man from the ball carrier. They need 3+ yards for the first down. Malala is going to punt it. Ball will go into the end zone. As we come to the end of the 3rd quarter. Arkansas upsetting Miami. It's 16-15, and we'll return after this message and a word from your local stations.
Football. Today's CFA game is sponsored by UPS. We deliver to every address in the U.S. and to 41 countries worldwide. RCA, #1 with the toughest critics in the world. And by new Extra Gold Draft in bottles and cans, the one with a full tilt taste.
Now Anthony Cooney, the other cornerback, being tended to over on the Arkansas sideline. Already they have lost Richard Brothers because of an injury. Doc telling us he does not expect Brothers to return. And Cooney receiving some treatment there on his right leg.
And he is backed up by a freshman, Curtis Banks.
Here's a big series for Arkansas. And their big man all day has been the fullback, Barry Foster. The play of the day so far with their last touchdown.
And again, watch how Grovey keeps the play alive. He really should have been sacked right there by Mark. But it's the footwork that gives him a chance to throw the pass to Foster who had just kind of slipped open for the score.
Strange as it sounds, folks, a 10-0 team is working on a major upset. The unbeaten Razorbacks are ahead of Miami, 16-15, 14-25 to go. Run the wishbone with their fullback, and Mark stops him. If you have just joined us, Foster has carried the ball 6 times for 102 yards for the Razorbacks. He bolted 80 yards for a first-half touchdown. Walsh has completed 27 passes for 306 yards. Now, take a look at this. You would think that the Hurricanes had dominated this game, but the Razorbacks have had the big play when it counted. Time of possession, the least effective measurement sometimes of the scoreboard. Ken Hatfield, who was buried by Jimmy Johnson a year ago, doing much better. And timeout is being called by Arkansas, using one of their 3 with 13:45.
Again, Byrne, another timeout, 1 remaining with the entire 4th quarter to go.
We'll be right back to Miami. Okay, tonight at prime time, 8:30 Eastern time, an interested spectator will be Larry Bird. He'll be watching the game, and you'll hear from him at halftime. The Lakers and the Pistons. Steve Walsh in a battle for his life. Never been beaten here in the Orange Bowl as a starting quarterback, and Ken Hatfield and the Razorbacks have him on the run a bit. 16-15, 13:44 to go. 3rd down and 7 now for Arkansas. And Grovey running out on the draw. It was sealed up. Breaks 1 tackle, and then Crum buries him.
You cannot run around this Miami defense. Dave Landstead, the defensive coordinator, has done a great job of getting a bunch of guys who can really run with speed. First the rush, and you're going to see Bubba McDowell, number 48, the corner, make him adjust, and that gave Crum some time to make the stop.
Now, will McDowell go after Meacham, or will they take the field position with the wind? They were diving for it that time. He just barely got it off. It rolls dead at the 40. Only 23 yards under pressure. Miami with tremendous field position when you come back, and that's the time remaining in the game. Berger behind the hedges of that view there. This is the first time this year that Arkansas has played a game on grass, and they're holding up quite well. Anthony Cooney, who was being tended to, has returned to the lineup, number 28. He is in, and this is the best starting field position for the Canes all game long at the Arkansas 40. And on 1st down, Walsh goes for the score. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Ben Floor, and did he floor Andre Brown down there? They wanted a flag, but the ball certainly not catchable, was it?
Well, it depends on how early he grabbed him. Take a look at Ben Floor, number 38. The ball is over his head. The question is, could he have gotten there? I don't think so. The ball was about 6 yards over his head.
He was holding on rather tightly on that left hand.
Right at the top of the show, we said that Walsh really likes to move it around. See how many different players.
That was not an ineligible receiver at the bottom. That was deflected into the hands of his center early on. Now they run the draw play on 2nd down, and Kroll hammered by Wayne Martin, number 83. And he's had a lot of help here today. We came in singing the praises of Martin. He's the senior out of Cherry Valley, Arkansas. He's their All-American. A lot of other Razorbacks have really held up well here this afternoon. You folks back in Arkansas can be awfully proud of this bunch regardless of what happens. A 17-point underdog. Third down and 10. Walsh throws short of the 1st down. He went to Chudzinski. Floor was there defensively. It'll be 4th down, and Carlos Huerta onto the field to attempt the field goal, which, if successful, would regain the lead for the Hurricanes. But it won't be easy. It's going to be a 50-yarder, but keep in mind he does have a rather stiff breeze behind him. He's had a spectacular year for the Canes. Bad snap. Huerta picks it up and he's down. Arkansas takes over. The break the Razorbacks have been looking for.
I'm not so sure it was as much a bad snap as it went right through Carlisle's hands, who is the punter. This is a job he took over at mid-season. It was a little bit wide, perhaps, but certainly looked catchable. Another look. It was a little bit wide. You're right. It was a poor snap away from Carlisle, the holder.
But that's one reason why some teams favor a backup quarterback to a punter as a holder, because they want a good set of hands back there, somebody who can grab that ball and get it set down.
Well, it was a change. It was only mid-season that Jimmy Johnson had Carlisle become the holder.
Now you can really start thinking about the possibility of an upset. That was the break. Can they do anything with it? Miami's defense stands tall, and it'll be second down with Jimmy Jones making the hit. 6 steps to a possible national championship. Arkansas must close off here today. Then USC would have to beat Notre Dame later. Arkansas, then over UCLA in the Mobile Cotton Bowl. And finally, Michigan must beat USC, and Notre Dame would have to come back and take care of West Virginia. That would knock off the unbeatens, and then the Razorbacks would hope for the vote. But forget everything else, because the first step right now, the Razorbacks must win this game. Second down and 10 now. 10:45 to go. Grovey, options, Hawkins, all over Aaron Jackson.
You know, Bill Hawkins hasn't made this year the spectacular plays that some of the guys they've had here in the past, like Jerome Brown and Stubbs, but he has been a consistently good performer this entire year. That time they option off him, nobody blocks him, and he just makes the play on Jackson.
Third down and 17. The King defense beginning to exert itself.
That front four, led by Bill Hawkins, really has done a nice job all season long of both pressuring the quarterback and playing against option teams.
Arkansas trying to get close enough just to give Traynor an opportunity, but they need 17 yards for a first down. Under pressure, steps away from it, and he is down at the 39-yard line. Jimmy Jones bringing the Arkansas quarterback down inside of 10 minutes. And all day long, Spencer has been fielding punts that have been made under heavy pressure. The Canes again line up 10. They come hard, and he gets it off. Beautiful punt under the circumstances. Arkansas gains some field position in that exchange, and the Canes will take over at the 22. It was a 45-yard punt and a 7-yard return as Bubba McDowell gets close, but he just can't quite block one. And we'll be right back. We're at the Orange Bowl, witnessing what has been a shocker here so far. The Razorbacks of Arkansas beating the Hurricanes of Miami 16-15. With John Dockery and Pat Hayden, I'm Brent Musburger. 9:08 to go. Miami's ball, 1st and 10, coming out from their own 23. Gary and Conley back in the backfield for Walsh. Walsh to throw again on first down. Under pressure, gets it off to Chudzinski, the tight end. First down. He hit him at the 35-yard line, 12 yards.
And a terrific catch by Chudzinski. He felt the linebacker, Harper, going to make a play and perhaps intercept it. And watch how he jumps forward and lunges toward the ball. See that? He felt the pressure of the linebacker, Harper. That's a great play again by Chudzinski.
Canes 65 yards away from a touchdown, and 8:45 and the wind at their back. Walsh again. Far side, and has Andre Brown another first down, depending on where they spot the ball. If he puts it down right there, it'll be short of it.
Brent, as we said at the top of the show, you measure quarterbacks by their ability to bring their team from behind. We have seen Steve Walsh do it against Florida State a year ago. He did it against Michigan this year, and again he has the chance today.
The Canes averaging 37.3 points a game. Today they've scored not even half that against this Razorback defense. Second and short. He wants the first down. Gary breaks free and pounds to the Arkansas 47 with Ben Floor bringing him down.
What makes Gary the most versatile fullback in America is that he'll catch the ball for you as he's done all day long. He'll block, and then he can get you a tough yard when you need it, as he did there.
You shake hands with Cleveland Gary, he'll swallow your arm. The difference in first downs. Miami has dominated everything but the scoreboard here this afternoon. Gave up an 80-yard touchdown. Walsh to throw again on first down. Wide open, Chudzinski. The tight end is hurting Arkansas right now. He's inside the 30. Harper was there along with Cooney defensively. Another 20-yard gain.
Rob Chudzinski has made a living of catching balls in about the 12-yard range. This time he comes all the way across. The receiver clears it out, and when the corner vacates that area there on the left, that's where the tight end ends up.
And another quarterbacking record falls at Miami. That was Walsh's 32nd completion. A new mark for the Canes. Has him at the line of scrimmage. Conley to the 19. And a defense that has been on the field much of the afternoon, maybe a touch tired.
And you're absolutely right, because it takes a lot more energy to play defense. That's why that theory holds true. And one of the adjustments this Miami team has done in this drive is they are running to the strong side, to the tight end side. Ordinarily, they don't do that.
Second down and 3 for the Canes. Try to get Conley free inside the 50. He is out of bounds with Harper tackling him.
One more time to the strong side, which has been a change of pace. Gets a big block by Mike Sullivan, number 79, the guard, who pulled around and put a real nice block on the inside linebacker.
Penn State fans remember when the Nittany Lions held up against this Miami team in the Fiesta Bowl for a national championship. And Joe Paterno says to this day, I'm so glad that Jimmy Johnson didn't do what he's doing right here. And that's running the ball right at the heart of that defense. They put it up, and they had that big interception. Right now, Johnson and the Canes will use one of their timeouts. Inside of 7 minutes, and we'll be right back. Johnson pacing the sideline here at the Orange Bowl. Miami down 16-15, but they have a 1st and 10 at the 10. So it will be a 1st and goal. 6:55. Walsh calls the play. Conley to the short side of the field, battled his way for a yard. Wayne Martin bringing him down. 2nd down and goal. A field goal here leaves Miami just a little vulnerable, Pat.
Actually, they're absolutely thinking touchdown. They have faltered a little bit down here when they got down inside the 5-yard line running the football. They've had great success here in the 4th quarter throwing the ball to Rob Chudzinski, the tight end.
They slot a man over there on the right, and Walsh will back it up and look for somebody who's open. It's Andre Brown who makes a diving reception at the 3-yard line. What a great catch.
That really was a great catch. And Steve Walsh, I think, was trying to get the ball out to Conley early and then found Brown. Andre Brown just runs a little delay route over the middle. Again, just finds the open area, and the ball is drilled low so it doesn't get picked off.
Takes a lot of guts to do what Brown did right there, go diving into the middle for that reception. Now it is 3rd and goal. Gary can come out of that backfield as a receiver. Walsh goes to the far corner, knocked down and incomplete. Terrific coverage by Atwater, and he almost intercepted the ball in that corner. He came so close to picking this one off.
And that is a big play, the fact that he did not pick this one off. Atwater, number 27, playing the deep outside against Brown, who hasn't beaten. The ball is underthrown. He really should have picked that ball off.
Out of his hands. Miami will settle for the field goal. As you take another look at the rangy safety, 6'4", had it right there in his hands and simply dropped the ball. It's a 20-yard field goal by Huerta. Kalal handles this one, and Huerta puts Miami back into the lead. His 19th field goal of the year. A Hurricane record. It's a 2-point lead. 5.5 minutes, and Arkansas is blessed with the finest kicker in college football this year, Kendall Traynor.
And remember, Traynor has been the difference in 4 Razorback games this season.
Well, how about this lineup tomorrow, Pat Hayden? Why don't you take us through it?
Oh, Phoenix at Philadelphia, that's one I'm kind of interested in. Green Bay and Chicago. Chicago playing some pretty good defense again this year. Atlanta coming on. Chris Miller playing well for them at quarterback. Big late game, the Rams in Denver. The Rams struggling a little bit, having trouble running the football. And Dan Fouts Day at San Diego, going to retire his number. Boy, was he a sensational player. Hey, Brent, what does it all start with?
12:30 Eastern Time. The NFL today. I'm sure glad you asked me that, Pat. Dick Butkus, Irv Cross, Will McDonough coming your way.
Is Dick going to carve anything up this weekend?
He did some job palming that bird, didn't he? He flunked the Julia Child carving course. All right, minutes to kick it off now. We're sitting on a 2-point game, 18-16 Miami. 5.5 minutes to go. And the big man, Barry Foster, standing back the Arkansas 5 for a return. And he's not going to get one. They don't want him handling the ball. Out of the end zone, bring it out on the 20.
One of the key factors here for the Hogs, as Venice is limping as he comes off the field. One of the key factors for the Hogs, again, facing a 20-mile-an-hour wind. It's going to make it much more difficult for Kendall Traynor.
Quinn Grovey, number 4, into the huddle. Foster, the fullback, and the wishbone has been the big man. It's tough at the closed end to here. Takes it away, and Grovey is stuffed. And that, friends, was Greg Mark and Bill Hawkins, number 54, all over it.
And Mark has done a great job this year, too, number 94 and 54, Hawkins on the other end. Those are the 2 defensive ends who've been able to play the option play this year and today, as well as rush the passer.
Arkansas searching for that big play, trailing by 2. They flex the bone. Grovey keeps it, and this will leave them with 3rd and long. The middle of the defense was ready. Rod Carter right there. For Traynor against this wind, how far will they have to get, Pat, to even give him a chance?
I would guess they probably have to get to around the 20-yard line. He does have a long this year of 50 yards, and we saw him kick actually the longer one, 59 this year, but that was with the wind.
And against this defense, the way it's playing right now, that could be forever. This is 11 yards for just a 1st down. Grovey to back it straight up. An offensive line holds. He's got time. Drops it over the middle. The ball was bobbled. And this will leave them with a long 4th down.
The tight end for the first time gets his reception. That's Billy Winston. The ball was a little bit low and was bobbled. Had he caught it, he might have been dropped. And they called it incomplete. Had he caught that ball, he could have picked up the 1st down with the run. And now the Razorbacks must punt.
At the 4:11 mark, they have no option.
Got to punt and play some great defense.
Now this time Miami might not want to risk roughing that punter. They might want to take that ball with field position and see if they can eat away at the clock. Let's see what they elect to do. They've been close all day. Line drive this time, bobbled on the ground, and that's not bad for a miss, folks. That's as good as you can expect out of a punt like that. Rolling down to the 34. He got a 47-yard punt. What, did he hit this with his knee?
The coaches told him, don't get it blocked. And he got it off quickly, and that was awfully low.
All right, a reminder that tonight on CBS, Braves in Miranda, then NBA primetime. That's the Lakers and the Pistons. Here with 4 minutes to go. Walsh and the Canes leading by 2. They were favored by 17. They pound straight ahead. And Conley dropped quickly by Martin.
This is the situation in a game where you want to run the clock out, be able to grind out a few first downs with your running game, but the Razorback defense has taken away the rush most of today.
There's another number working against the Razorbacks right now. They are down to 1 timeout. And how Ken Hatfield would love to have that one back that they used during that confusion after the touchdown. 2nd down and long for Walsh. Deflected, incomplete. Another ball is tipped by the defensive rush. But of course, the play right now that will haunt the Razorbacks is this 3rd down pass, which Atwater should have intercepted. Instead, after he dropped it, Huerta kicked the field goal, which put Miami ahead 18-16. Now we're sitting on a huge 3rd down at 3:20.
And this 3rd down is for the team to stay in the race for a national championship, either one of these.
Walsh has time, goes far side. Brown working the far sideline, incomplete, out of bounds over there. And it'll be 4th down, and Miami will punt at the 3:13 mark.
And Ken Hatfield has to think about perhaps trying to block a punt here. The Miami defense has played so well here in the 2nd half. He must think perhaps of trying to get a block.
That's Tim Horton, wide receiver, standing back at the Arkansas 20. 3:13 to go. 10 men up on the line for the Razorbacks. They come after him, but he gets it off. Now he'll field it on 1 bounce, out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Major story. Let's go to Jim Nantz in New York. Jim, what do you got?
By John Heisler from the Sports Information Office of Notre Dame that Ricky Waters and Tony Brooks will not play for the Irish today. They will sit out for disciplinary reasons. Lou Holtz has sent them home after the 2 were late for last night's team meal. So Waters and Brooks will not play for Notre Dame today against USC. Let's go back to Brent.
Wow, you know, I can remember right here in the Orange Bowl when Lou Holtz brought Arkansas in here to play Oklahoma. And he lost 2 or 3 key players, and they staged an upset. Now, for the Razorbacks, they return to John Bland. So they go back to the senior quarterback. And in that game, Arkansas upset Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. Irish shorthanded now. 1st and 10 for Arkansas. 3 minutes to go. Bland straight back. And he's hit. Ball is knocked free. Jimmy Jones crushed him.
Jimmy Jones from the backside of the quarterback again gets a great jump on the ball. And Bland never has a chance. And they called that an incomplete pass.
Because it went out of bounds on the... Actually, that had nothing to do with it, you have to think about it. But they called it an incomplete pass. 2nd down and 10. He was hit in that twilight zone area. It's so tough. Kendall Traynor just wants a chance, but the Miami defense not giving him one. Bland off the option. Now he pitches, and there is no running room for Jackson.
John Bland, the reason they're playing Bland now, he is supposed to be the better thrower, but you can't run wide against this Miami defense. The big plays, even today, have been up the middle when Barry Foster went 80 yards.
Jackson limps off. Gatson comes on into the backfield. Russell will be at wide receiver.
Well, Bland is 0 for 5 on the day. Grovey has been the quarterback who's had the couple of completions.
Bland. And down at the 23-yard line, Bill Huckins. Hatfield wanting to use his last timeout. And while they confer on the sideline, we'll take a break and be right back to Miami. Pat, Arkansas is down to its last 4th down inside of 2 minutes, and they need 13 yards to move the chains here.
And it's key that John Bland just not come up with a sack. He has got to get rid of this ball and make sure that he gives his receiver at least a chance to make the first down.
Let's get out to the 37 for a first down. Bland over the middle, incomplete, and it should have been intercepted by Farms. There is a penalty marker down. Penalty marker thrown at the 20-yard line.
Holding. Offense.
Miami takes over.
The Miami defense on every big play this game really has done a nice job and come through. Again, good coverage here by the free safety Farms. The ball is overthrown. He was trying to hit Horton, and Farms there really should have made the interception. And reaction of Ken Hatfield.
Just a spectacular defensive job by Miami here in the final quarter. Minus 16 yards total offense in the 4th quarter for Arkansas. And the Razorbacks likewise have been tough on offense. They hand to Gary. Harper hanging on. Miami trying to hold on to the ball, leading it by 2. Arkansas is out of timeouts, so they cannot stop the ball or the clock from ticking on down.
Gain of 3 on the
A little bit earlier, Jimmy Johnson was telling Cleveland Gary to hold on to the football, make sure he didn't fumble.
Second clock comes down to 5 seconds. There's a deep safety man in case they turn it over, and Walsh just falls on it right there. Arkansas unable to stop it.
Mark the ball, Dad! Mark the ball! Come on, mark the ball!
3-yard loss, 3rd and 10 at the 23.
Get the ball! Hey, kid! Get it!
Why coaches turn gray and grow hoarse. See the safety man there on the right-hand side in case anything happens.
It's called the Joe Pizarchik defense.
Miami was in a tussle today. Arkansas youngsters can go home with their heads high. Miami didn't win this game. They survived it.
On sale now at 8:14 here at the Orange Bowl. Also the Bass Outlet Chicken Basketball Team.
Not at all like the thumping that Johnson gave his alma mater a year ago.
The Hurricane basketball team is home on Monday against the
Let's go down to John Dockery. Doc?
Yeah, Brent, I'm right here with Jimmy Johnson, who just got congratulations from Coach Hatfield. Coach, a little tougher than you thought it would be.
No, that's exactly how tough I thought it would be. You know, we were not really up for this ball game. I was concerned about it all week long, and when you make as many mistakes as what we did and still win, you got to feel fortunate because all of those fourth down opportunities that we had, and we just didn't convert them. Like I said, we were not sharp for the ball game, but we're pleased with the win. I congratulate Arkansas. They did a great job in preparing for this ball game.
Were you looking past Arkansas and maybe thinking too much about national championship and the Orange Bowl?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think it's only natural that the guys were thinking about a lot of things, especially, you know, with such an easy win a year ago and the same thing against LSU last week. The only thing we want to do is just win the ball game, and I was concerned about it all week long. And again, we just made so many mistakes on fourth down that, like I said, you know, I'm just happy to win the ball game.
Jimmy, let me just ask you this final question. What do you think about national championship possibilities right now?
You know, we have played the champions of 3 different conferences and beat all 3 of them so far, besides beating Florida State to start the season. We've got Brigham Young next week, and so we better worry about Brigham Young.
Congratulations, Coach. Okay, Brent, now back to you.
All right, John, thank you. And so the Razorbacks go off the field having lost a tough one, 18-16 to Miami. And let's send you to New York now and Jim Nance. Jim?
And stuff, did not get it. Schoenwolf leading the defensive charge, and he has played a whale of a game here for Penn State.
On short yardage defense, what you need to do is stay low. Right here, watch these guys, how they stay low and get your pads underneath the offensive lineman. And that's just what happened. Shot Schoenwolf, and the other guy's Gobb, number 63, goes in backwards to stop him.
The 17th punt of this game. 10 men up. Moore hangs another one high. He has kept Penn State pinned up, and he gets a bounce. It'll be down inside the 5. What a fabulous punting job by Moore here this afternoon. Bobby Humphrey, the injured star, cheering from the sideline. A 5-point lead. Tony Sacco will try it again.
At UPS, we're changing the face of the international delivery business.
For Alabama here this afternoon. No touchbacks. He just hangs the ball high up inside that 20. Russell, the tight end, number 81, getting down on it, and the ball is down at the 5-yard line. And look at how they've had to start from their own 17-yard line, Pat.
And you know, Bill Curry told us yesterday that no game this year we had all 3 teams, offense, defense, and special teams, play together. Well, they've done that today.
Derek Thomas goes down in a 3-point stance at the right side. 1st and 10. This time they will run Brown. He gets through a hole for about 3 yards. That will leave Penn State 2nd and 7.
Again, they still didn't get those 4 yards on 1st down running the football, which again would give Sacco a little bit more room to try to throw the football.
Now it's going to be up to the Penn State offensive line to see if they can dig in. They trail it by 5 points. 8-3. Plenty of time. Here comes Brown again. He gets around Thomas this time. And he is out to near the 20, and Thomas comes from behind to help bring him down. What a great hustler number 55 is.
It was only a 9-yard run or so, but a very important run, and he went around Derek Thomas that time. He went inside. Gary Brown put a little move and then went outside, but Thomas has the speed to still run him down. That's a big 1st down for Penn State.
Penn State wants to play some smash ball. 1st and 10 at the 19. Green and Brown, the setback. Sacco to throw, and it's deflected by you-know-who. Number 55 moved to the left side and knocked that pass down. Have you ever seen a defensive player take charge like this?
The man is an athlete. He is 6'4", 230 pounds, and can run like a deer, a 4.5 40. And again, he's got a real feel, a sense for the game, like the great ones have.
And when he gets down in that three-point stance, a quarterback can't see where he is. If he stands him up, then you know where he is. They continue to move him. Here's Green, and he's hit almost immediately as he takes the handoff.
This time, Derek Thomas lined up as a middle linebacker and puts the stop. So we've seen him on both sides, outsides. We've seen him down as a tackle and here as a middle linebacker. Get some help from Webb, but again, it's Derek Thomas inside.
Now it is 3rd down and 12. They have attacked with Thomas from almost everyone with the various positions in the front 7. They're going to stand him up on the left side. He's picked up by Brown, comes free, chasing Saka. Incomplete.
Saka is 0 for 8.5, and it's been very good coverage and a great rush. That time the hit, and that looked like a late hit to me by McCants. It was not called.
The education of Tony Saka continues in Birmingham. Helkowski from the 7. Murray Hill lets it go out of bounds, and it'll be spotted at the Penn State 45-yard line. Good field position for Bama. Let's check in with Jim Nance. Jim?
Brad, let's run down some scores while we have a chance. UCLA leading in the 3rd quarter over Arizona. The Bruins have scored now in 200 straight games, extending an NCAA record. Notre Dame and Air Force. The Falcons were the leading rushing team in the nation, averaging 432 yards a game on the ground. Today, only 170 yards, as Notre Dame is now 7-0. 4 touchdown passes by Steve Walsh in a quarter and a half. Let's go back to Birmingham.
1st and 10 for Alabama. Ball at the Penn State 45-yard line. 8-3. Toss now to Hill. He's behind Turner. They stretch him out. Chismar making the first hit on him at the 45-yard line. 2nd and 10.
With 6:23 left to the game, it is now up to the Penn State defense, who really have played very well all afternoon. They've only given up 6 points. But again, they have to create the turnover at this stage and in this area of the field to give their offense a chance.
Taking the toss, Smith pulls out and throws complete to Russell. Short of a first down. It will leave them about 3 yards shy of a first down.
It's a nice throw by David Smith because Russell was not wide open, and what Smith did was throw the ball low so that if his guy can't get it, the ball's not going to get tipped and picked off.
Minutes left. They must get to the 35 for a first down. Turner, the fullback, in front of Kent. This is Kent behind him. First down, Alabama.
Sign of a good offensive football team is to be able to run for a first down, get those 2 yards when you need it. William Kent follows some good blocks on the right-hand side. Chapman, number 70 on the right side, makes a nice block. Turner, the fullback. Robinette. And William Kent has that nose for the first down. That's a sign of a good team.
Schultz, Rose, and Robinette in the middle of that offensive line. Now on first down, Kent, the lone setback. And they'll run him behind the left side. Robinette pulling. And he is hammered out of bounds on the far side. Cleaning up was Andre Collins.
The offensive distribution, Homer Smith, the offensive coordinator, has to be happy with that. The tight ends getting worked in, the running backs, the wide receivers. Again, very difficult to defend a team that uses that many different weapons.
Fresh running backs. Stewart in at fullback. Hill returns as tailback. 2nd and 9. Here's the toss to Hill behind Stewart. And he gets across the 30, and there is a penalty marker thrown down. The tight end appeared to have wrapped up Quintus McDonald that time, and that's the holding call against Cross.
Injured Crimson Tide player down.
Chatham, the right tackle, 6'4" junior.
And Brent, Alabama has to be thinking touchdown. They still have to, because a field goal, even if they get a field goal, would only make it an 8-point game. So they conceivably a touchdown or 2-point conversion, although the Penn State offense has not really done much today.
While we've got an injury timeout, let me remind you that next week we'll be in Morgantown, West Virginia. West Virginia and Penn State. Now let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, Brent, let's check some more scores. Nebraska now over Kansas State for the 20th year in a row. West Virginia winner today. Major Harris, a career-high 293 yards passing. 3 went for touchdowns. He ran for 2 more. Florida State with its largest margin of victory in school history. 63-point win, their 7th straight victory. North Carolina State over Clemson. Touchdown coming with 10 minutes left by Chris Williams in that game. Rodney Williams, the quarterback for Clemson, just 4 of 20 with 3 interceptions. And Auburn has allowed the fewest points in the country, now only 52 points allowed in 7 games this season. Auburn is now 6-1. Kentucky over Georgia, one of the day's upsets. Kentucky with a big performance by Alfred Rawls, 15 carries, 128 yards, 1 touchdown. So let's go back to Birmingham.
All right, Jim, thank you. We've got 4.5 minutes left here. It is 8-3, Alabama over Penn State. It'll be 2nd and 19. The ball is at the Penn State 42. They must get to the 23-yard line for a first down. Richardson, wide to the right. Pierre Gould, off to the left. And they run the draw with Hill. He found an opening. Inside the 30 and short of a first down. But now they're in position to pick it up on 3rd down with a fine run.
And a nice call against a blitzing defense. They caught the Penn State defense in a blitz, and once you get through the first wave, you've got a chance of getting a big play. Murray Hill really ran this well. The left tackle makes a real nice play to put a block in here inside. That's number 76, Drew Morgan, all the way down the line of scrimmage to run the inside trap. Good call against the blitz.
3rd down and 6. Here comes Hill again. Fumble. Ball is loose. Penn State's got it. Penn State at the 12-yard line comes up with a fumble at the 3:30 mark.
And that's just what we say. The Penn State defense had to come up with some sort of play. And they did it. They forced the fumble, and shot number 79 and number 9, Darren Perry, was there to make the recovery.
He intercepted a pass in the first half. Now he recovers a fumble. 2 turnovers for number 9. As he was battling his way toward the first down, the ball came free and rolled all the way to the 12-yard line before Perry crawled and then clutched the ball and brought it in.
This Penn State defense has played well this game. They have not given up a touchdown, only 2 field goals.
But their offense has not gotten the ball past their own 27-yard line. Now 1st and 10, and time beginning to run down on them. Saka back. Saka hit. Ball is free, and Alabama jumps on it. And you know who was right there.
They said it was an incomplete pass. We said at the top of the show, a quarterback always has to know where Derek Thomas is. They've lined him up at 4 different positions, this time from the backside. Gets on, and again, Saka's hand was going forward, and that's why they called it an incomplete pass.
Good call. Green checks in, and an extra tight end. Well, when they switched Green back to fullback, You wondered if Penn State had enough blocking ability at that position. Now let's see if they can hold off the rush. Saka rolls the pocket. Here comes Thomas. Thomas has got him at the 2-yard line. It's an incredible afternoon for number 55.
I have seen a lot of guys play good defensive football, but I've never seen a guy dominate a game as Derek Thomas has here today. He has done virtually everything, including playing very well on special teams. That time, lined up as a middle linebacker.
Coach Don Lindsay turning him loose here this afternoon. Now a 3rd and 19. They send in Terry Smith. Extra speed on the outside. But in 3rd downs in this game, Penn State is 0 of 12. Thomas stands up, sneaks in, pass is thrown incomplete.
There is a penalty flag down.
The 25-second clock may have expired. Let's see.
Delay a game.
That's what it is. So that would be half the way. Be back to the 2.
And you don't know where he is going to line up this time. He lines up as the middle linebacker. You have to get a big man on Derek Thomas if you have any chance. A back cannot handle him.
You'd almost be tempted to take a tight end and put him in the backfield. You'd be very tempted to do what the pros do. Send a tight end in motion, make him move to his spot, and just do a little stutter step and wait for him. Now you've got a 3rd down. 2:14 to go. Saka hands it off. They cannot risk another safety. And Brown battles his way out to the 11-yard line. Far short of the 1st down. They just did not want to risk another safety in that situation.
Been sensational defense by the Crimson Tide. Don Lindsay has come up with a very nice game plan, moving Derek Thomas around to make the plays.
Now Helkowski standing in his own end zone. Murray Hill for Alabama. Back to the 41-yard line, coming up the middle, crosses midfield. The penalty marker down as Hill breaks free. Hill on his feet, cuts back at the 30. He's down at the 23, but there is a penalty flag down back at the other side of midfield. It could be a clipping call against Alabama.
We have clipping on Alabama on the run back.
It's number 9, I think, Mike Smith, who made the clip right in front of Hill. Here comes number 9, right in the back, and the official's right there. It's a good call. It's also a good punt return by Hill, his 2nd of the day.
Pat, I got a moment, and you and I both want to thank Wayne Atchison, who took us through the Bear Bryant Museum down there and helped us out yesterday when we were in Tuscaloosa. It was great to taste some of his southern hospitality when we come down this way. Coach Bill Curry and his staff, and of course Joe Paterno and theirs. We'll see them next week again in Morgantown. We've got 1:24 to go. It's a 5-point Alabama lead. 8-3 now. Ball is back on the 30-yard line. Penn State looking for a turnover in this situation. They toss it to Kent. Kent on the cutback.
Brent, some people probably wondering about Penn State's decision to punt there. In that area of the field, they felt they had to because they had 3 timeouts. They've just used one of them. They had the punt, play good defense, and force a punt, give their offense one more chance.
Well, it'll be 2nd and 9. So far, so good. We'll be right back. Of today's game, we will select Derek Thomas and somebody else as the Chevrolet most valuable players of this game. Derek, you're about to pick up a $1,000 scholarship from Chevrolet for Alabama.
You sure you want to vote for him, huh?
2nd down and 9 for Alabama. Now 1:17 to go. 2 timeouts remaining for Penn State. Kent is set behind Stewart. This is Stewart, the fullback. And with number 85, Giannetti, holding on. He is short of that first down.
Alabama here now on facing a 3rd and 4. You know, I think this is the time where you don't get too conservative. They've had some success throwing the football, and this is not still a bad time to do it. It's 3rd and 4. They've had some guys wide open. They've also run the pitch play pretty well to Hill.
1:10 to go, and Bill Curry pondering that move. And while we've got a timeout, let's get some more scores from Jim.
All right, the #1 UCLA Bruins have added a field goal. It's now 17-0 over Arizona, 3rd quarter in Tucson. Wyoming 8-0 on the season after the victory today. The last time the Cowboys 8-0, 1967. Wyoming went to the Sugar Bowl that year. Arkansas over Houston. Big day for the place kicker for the Razorbacks. Kendall Traynor, 4 field goals. He's made 15 straight this season. Arkansas 7-0 on the season. Indiana and Michigan. This is in the 3rd quarter. 17-6 Wolverines. A touchdown has just occurred. Greg McMurtry to Chris Callaway on an option pass, and Michigan leads it by 11. Missouri and Oklahoma State. In this game for the Cowboys, Hartley Dykes. 3 receptions, 60 yards. He becomes the all-time Big 8 career receiving yardage leader, topping the mark set by Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Rodgers. And let's go back now to Birmingham.
All right, 3rd and 4 now for Alabama. They're all set. They toss to Kent, and they have forced a punt. They've got him out of bounds and forced the punt. And I want to remind everybody of the Penn State-Boston College game. Penn State blocked a punt in the last minute to set up a victory. So we will be watching Eddie Johnson in this situation as they set Timpson back to return. They'll put the speed burner in with 1:05 to go and 1 timeout remaining.
But I think they have to go for a punt block because their offense has just not been good. They've got to try to block the punt.
Here come 10 men on the rush, and he does just get it off. Moore, and Timpson's got it at the 22. Coming to the left, cuts up. He is down at the 32. Inside of a minute to go. That's probably their best field position of the second half. 10-yard return. They'll start at the 32-yard line.
5-point ball game, though. It just takes one big play or a defensive back falling down. You've got the strong arm of the freshman quarterback, Saka, and 1 timeout remaining.
Pat, I'm really serious about it. I think Penn State should put an offensive lineman or somebody in that backfield to pick up Thomas when he comes through and send everybody else out. You cannot blame Saka. He has absolutely no time to get the ball off.
Or take the fullback out, John Green, and maybe put a backup tight end just in the backfield. Right now, they're going to have to throw the football. You know Derek Thomas is going to come. Give your quarterback at least a chance to get rid of the ball.
Richardson, he was injured coming downfield, and the big man on campus, Derek Thomas, checks in with that defense. 54 seconds remain for Penn State and 1 timeout. Redmond now replaces Green. He's in that backfield. He's 5'9", 193. He's not going to stop Derek Thomas. Now they send Timpson out to the right. Saka is 0 for 9 this half. Short drop, throws to Timpson complete near midfield. That'll stop the clock as they move the chains at the 48-second mark. His first completion for 17 yards. A short drop and a quick pop.
Needs to get the ball to the outside, to the sidelines, and work the sidelines. Don't start the clock till the chains are set.
Daniels and Timpson on that right side. Thomas off the block. Now Saka has to run, and he's down near midfield.
And Joe's asking him to use his last timeout. You got to get rid of the ball there. You have to throw the ball away in that circumstance.
Man, I don't want to broke the record, but those size backs are not going to stop number 55. It is second down. They flushed Saka right out of the pocket that time with Thomas coming in on him. Take a look at this right here.
Here again, 55. This time he is standing up, and it's a mismatch. Redmond is only 193 pounds. They have to swing out a guard or a tackle or maybe move a tight end into the backfield, but he's just overpowering blockers.
35 seconds to go.
Now they have no timeouts remaining, so they have to not only get the ball down and into the end zone, but they also have to throw the ball outside. And if you're a defensive coordinator like Don Lindsay is, you know that you're going to protect the boundary.
Well, tonight on CBS, you've got this schedule coming your way. Dick Clark presents, and Simon & Simon and West 57th Street. I'll tell you, you want to see Billy Crystal on that West 57th Street. He's a delight. They feature him tonight, so that's something you can really look forward to. All right, we know the young man has the arm, but will he have the time? Thomas from the middle is bunched up. Saka throws down to the 20, caught out of bounds, no catch. Daniels was the receiver, number 26.
There is a penalty flag here near the line of scrimmage. It's a remarkable catch by David Daniels, but he was out of bounds. And Saka had somebody draped on his ankle and still drilled the ball downfield about 50 yards. Again, David Daniels has a reputation of being a very acrobatic receiver, but that's a good shot. He came down outside the field to play.
27 seconds left. The offense, and the penalty was declined.
Brent, here is a situation where you like to get Michael Timpson, the man with all the speed, down the center of the defense for a big play. Catch it while he's on the move.
Now 2 downs to get it in. Keeps his backs in, and Thomas got through him that time, and it's intercepted by Osment. That will do it. And it was Derek Thomas again, stepping inside the block of Gary Brown and applying the pressure to force the interception.
We've seen Derek Thomas overpower blockers. We've seen him run around blockers. That time he just juked Gary Brown, who was the tailback trying to block him. He looked like in the broken field. He faked one way, came inside on Gary Brown. Watch the tailback trying to block. Fake out, come right back inside. A little swim technique to make Saka hurry up. Remarkable performance by Derek Thomas. Lee Osment's the beneficiary of it right there.
Young Saka will wake up in the middle of the night and say, where is number 55? First and 10, and Alabama will beat Penn State here this afternoon. And so Bill Curry, who yesterday celebrated his 46th birthday, gets what he needs most down here in Birmingham. A huge win over Joe Paterno and Penn State. Jr. there right alongside Coach Curry, and Paterno quickly out to congratulate him. And downstairs to John Dockery. Dockery.
Bill, what does a win like this at this time mean to you in the program?
I'll tell you what, one thing, this is the greatest football player in America. The greatest. Well, it means a great deal to our program. And I'm just so proud of the leadership that Derek's given us and others. And the team has had to deal with a lot of things. We hurt ourselves a lot today, but it was a great, great defensive football game by 2 great defensive units.
And an emotional performance by this man. Derek, you told us you wanted to make people forget Cornelius Bennett and leave a mark at Alabama that people wouldn't forget. You've done it.
Well, I hope so. I just went out and played to the best of my ability, and my teammates did a great deal to compensate for this win. When I wasn't making plays in the first half, they made the plays, and then I got open to make plays in the second half, so I made it.
He seemed to be everywhere, Coach. Was that the plan?
That was the plan. People have been able to gang up on Derek when they knew where we were going to line him up. And Don Lindsay, our defensive coordinator, is a master of moving great football players around. And so we didn't want them to ever know where he was coming from. And, of course, it was very effective.
Did you surprise yourself today?
Yeah, I surprised myself. When I got a safety, I didn't know it was in the end zone. And after I found out it was in the end zone, I just got excited.
Congratulations to both of you. Now back to you, Brent.
All right, John, thank you very much. Superman does it. Derek Thomas leads Alabama to an 8-3 victory. And we'll come right back to Legion Field.
Saunders comes out of there.
Terry was one of those involved in the fight as the tight end had it. As he went down, they stripped it away from him. And so the Hoosier defense forces a turnover.
Taylor again puts the ball right on the money with good protection. Huzar is 74. Vitale is there. Walker, number 89. It's close as to whether his knee hit before the ball came out, but it's a big turnover. Yeah, it's a big turnover for Indiana. If it did hit, it balances out because earlier one of the calls went for Michigan on that sideline play.
Tom Bolliard is now in at quarterback. Snell is just too tender and too stiff, apparently. So Bolliard is in there at quarterback now for Indiana. And that ball is almost intercepted by J.J. Grant. Bolliard has not yet really hummed the ball with authority. He's 1 for 6 for 8 yards, and he's been sort of pushing it.
They came in only having thrown 9. Let's go back and take a look. If the knee is down before the ball is out.
Well, now the ball is in his arms clearly, right? The knee is clearly down.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else you need.
Yeah. His knee was down before the ball came out. Tough call for the official, but that's
very good. I would not quibble about that one. Second down and 10. Pitch it outside. Thompson's got it. Got some help on the corner, and he's going to have a first down for the Hoosiers at the Michigan 49. So a little option action opens it up for him.
Let's go back and take a look what the official was looking at, how fast it happened.
Oh, sure. So quick, you can't quibble about that kind of a thing.
That's for sure. I think this is a good move by Mallory in putting Bolliard into the ball game. You went 3 series with Snell in the second half. He's not done anything. He's throwing short. Get your other quarterback in. Maybe you can bring you back.
That's their first down of the second half. Thompson hit behind the line of scrimmage by number 60, Mark Messner. Oh, he's certainly come alive here in the third quarter.
He has started playing in the second half. Look at number 60, the left side of your screen. 64 is Radke. He goes right inside of Radke, who is one of their best players on the offensive line. Gets in the backfield, and it's a 2 or 3 yard loss.
Not all that big. He sure is determined.
He's quick. Never gives up.
Second down and 14. Bolliard finally gets rid of it to Anthony Thompson, but by then Anthony is swarmed by the maize and blue.
Michigan doesn't do a lot of things defensively that can give you any cheap plays, any easy touchdowns. They usually play 7 or 8 men deep in zone coverage, and if they can get a pass rush from their front 3, especially with Messner, then they've got the best of both worlds.
Right. They now literally have you outnumbered, don't they? Messner getting loose up there.
They're a little thin in that defensive line, too, with the injury to John Herman. He's out for the year, and also his backup, Manuel.
It is 3rd and 8. Bolliard's pass is going to be intercepted. There is a penalty flag back where the ball was thrown, and Beta Murray has picked it off. Actually, all Beta had to do was stand there and catch it, because it was thrown right to him. Indiana called for holding. They'll refuse it.
Let's take a look. Take a look right here. Messner's right here. He's going to come in, but watch Radke, number 64, as he's going to help on Messner. He knows that Messner is, you guys watch him stick his hand out there, pointing down the official, the umpire right there makes the call, and Murray sees it all the way. It's an easy interception.
And Murray is still down with that tackle from the back. He got belted pretty well. I think it was Rob Turner that hit him, and Beta Murray, with 4 interceptions, is still on the field. Timeout for him at 51 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Murray was an outstanding defensive back in high school. Had just a bunch of interceptions. Did not play at Michigan last year because he was a prop 48. Let's take a look at the end of the play. Looks like his foot may have gotten caught underneath him.
Came down on the ball, and that thing is hard.
Yeah. Hopefully that's all it is. We got the wind knocked out of it. It looks like it's leg. Yeah, I think he got his foot caught up underneath him when he fell. He didn't know there was someone behind him. He has 4 interceptions. This is his first year playing. He was a freshman last year at Michigan, did not play. This is his first opportunity to play this year, and has done an outstanding job for Michigan. Second half possessions for Indiana. No field position.
Yeah, but that starting point of possession, starting point, been limited, and add in some sacks on top of it, much less. This is Leroy Horde carrying the ball. And let's check in with Becky now to find out what the late word is on Dave Schnell.
Well, Keith, word is that he was not taken out of the ballgame because of medical reasons. The coach just feel he's too hampered with that injury, not very effective, not very mobile.
Okay. If you've ever had a bruised tailbone, you know what he's going through.
Hard to walk when you got to sore back.
2nd down and 8 for the Wolverines. And Bowles pokes out, gets up to the 30-yard line. Alabama easing by Penn State 8-3. That was a thriller down in Birmingham. I'll tell you what, though, Bill Curry will take it.
Any way you can get him.
Here at Michigan Stadium, nearing the end of the 3rd quarter, the Wolverines blow it open here in the 3rd. It was 7-6 at halftime. Now they lead 24-6, and they are looking at the leg of Veda Murray, their fine defensive back, who just had an interception. Dave Schnell, bruised tailbone, and he's very, very stiff. It's not been effective since he got hurt. That's how much Michigan needs for its first down.
You know, you talk about, as we look at Bo Schembechler, you talk about the injury to Schnell with his tailbone being bruised earlier in the ballgame. Indiana has been very fortunate the last couple of years not to have many injuries. They've had very few players out of the lineup offensively or defensively due to injuries, and that's one of the reasons for their great success.
The weather's starting to clear considerably now, and the wind has eased off as well. It's not an uncomfortable evening here at Michigan State. Well, we've got 1 quarter to go, and the Wolverines lead it by 18. The alumni band tootling it up. Homecoming weekend. 3rd down and about a foot. And Michael Taylor will go after it. And appear to get it. Does. So it'll be 1st down for the Wolverines starting the 4th quarter of play. They have owned the 2nd half. I mean, they really dominated that 3rd quarter. They run up 17 points to none for the Hoosiers. Ball is exactly on the 31-yard hash mark. That's McMurtry, the wide man to the bottom of the picture, involved in one of the big back-breaking plays of that 3rd quarter. Bowles. Michigan with an 18-point lead and a quarter to go is not going to do anything except beat on it.
Look at the total offensive. Michigan with 349 yards. Indiana only 174 and only 66 yards rushing. Coming into the game, Indiana had averaged 293 yards on the ground. As Bo Schembechler said, defense wins championships, and his defense leads the Big Ten.
2nd and 5. Taylor pulls it down. Dives to the marker, and he's close at the 42 before Brad Money makes the tackle to amplify on what you were talking about, Indiana's rushing game. Anthony Thompson came into this game averaging right at 161 yards per game. Today, he's carried 16 times and picked up 54 yards.
Yeah, in last year's game against Michigan, he had 77 yards. So Michigan can shut down a good runner. And, you know, this is the first game that Indiana has really played anybody with a winning record. I think they're finding out something about their team today.
This is Bowles. About 4 yards. It's going to be up to Indiana now to make a big play defensively. Otherwise, the Wolverines are just going to beat on them and just crunch the ball down the field.
Yeah, their defense got a turnover the last time they were on the field, and their offense didn't do anything with it. They need something defensively, some big plays, some turnovers to get some field position for their offense.
Oregon out ahead of Washington in the fourth quarter, 10-7. I think it could be a dangerous stop for the Huskies in Eugene. After their all-out effort last week at Southern California, where they lost by a point. Fullback. Oh, look at big old Leroy Horde. He's off to the races again. Going. Touchdown. Got one in the very first possession of the ball game. And now this one. Third touchdown of the day. Gillette for the point. Good.
A run right up the middle. Vital, Huzar, Dingman, Skrepenek, and Doring all get their men out of the way. Horde just outruns the defensive secondary. His second long run of the day. Have graduated from Michigan. Third one, Kurt, is a redshirt freshman at the University of Michigan. And Douglas, who is a graduate assistant now with Mallory at Indiana, was the defensive captain last year for Michigan under Bo Schembechler and helped Snell get ready for this ball game.
Turner at the 7. Down at the 24 or 5 and a penalty flag. Hold it. We got a penalty. Hoosier's getting a little frustrated now.
Yeah.
Nothing has gone right for him in the third quarter, since the whole half. And it's a clip call against him, and here's Becky.
Keith, I just talked to the Michigan doctors, and they say free safety Veda Murray has injured his right leg. They think it is a sprained ligament in his right knee. He probably will not return to today's game right now. As you can see, he's sitting on the sidelines with ice on that knee, a very disappointed young man.
Sprained ligaments are tough fellows to heal, too. The only thing you can do is to stay off of it.
Usually put him in a cast, just immobilize it for a while.
All right, here's Bolliard coming out. Indiana now will have Iowa at home next week. Then they have to go to Champaign to play Illinois and then finish off with Michigan State. And then a trip to Purdue. Tough part of their schedule here today and the rest of the season. First down from the 18. Bolliard's pass is away good to Buford, and Buford is out of bounds across the 30 at the 31. The Michigan Wolverines aren't exactly out of the woods themselves insofar as the schedule is concerned. They have played a 10-10 tie with Iowa. They are playing Northwestern next week, Minnesota. Then they finish the season with Illinois at home and then travel to Columbus against Ohio State.
I would say that they would have the inside track looking at their, they got the easier part of their schedule ahead of them, and they would be leading the Big Ten by half a game after this game if they should win.
Give it to Anthony Thompson, and Thompson straight ahead. The one thing that Indiana has not been able to do, they have not blown, the offensive front has not blown Michigan off the ball today.
Well, they haven't. We didn't. That was no surprise. We didn't anticipate them doing that. Michigan can shut down a good running game, and you have to be able to throw. And again, defense is going to win your championships.
Second down and 8. Bolliard steps away from the pressure. Lets it go. Buford can't pull it in. Tony was being rattled around as the ball came to him, and he couldn't hold it. The moon is out.
Halloween can't be far behind.
Ole Miss came back to beat Vandy. Tennessee broke the drought. Johnny Major's got to be breathing a sigh of relief. Oregon State, I'll tell you what, that Wilhelm is having a pretty good season for those Beavers at left-handed quarterback. So Bolliard calls a timeout. Wants to talk. Third down and 8 coming up. That's Demetrius Brown, number 7, warming up on the sidelines. He might get a little playing time before this game is over. It never hurts to let that backup have some snaps. A 31-6 ball game. Michigan now in command. Indiana, third down and 8 from their 33. Tom Bolliard out of the shotgun formation. Gets his pass off. Good to Anthony Thompson. He's got to get past the marker, and he does for a first down. The Hoosiers need a couple of big happenings. And their defense on that last series looked tired. They looked whipped because Ford just ran through 3 people in the defensive secondary on the way to his 54-yard touchdown. Thompson slowed down in the backfield, and then 95. J.J. Grant is there to bring him down, and here's Becky.
Thank you very much, Keith. Earlier, you talked about the alumni band. We saw them. And with me right now is a very celebrated member of that band. He is Mr. Tom Roach, and who happens to be a regent here at the University of Michigan, and also is the cover story this weekend at homecoming. Tom, let's go back to 1948 to 1950, your days here at Michigan. What's your favorite homecoming memory?
I think it was all of the homecoming displays, the homecoming parade, and coming down. We didn't have an alumni band then, but coming down with all of the alumni back from all over the country. It's very exciting days.
What's the biggest difference marching today than 40 years ago?
Well, the style hasn't changed that much, but this drum seems to get heavier, and it hits my leg harder every year.
But you're not any slower. You can beat it just as that.
I keep up.
All right.
I keep up.
Thank you. I bet you do. Keith.
I keep up. I like it. Whistle and a penalty against Indiana before the snap of the ball. Illegal procedure. Can be any number of things. Oftentimes, 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Second down and 14.
But the Wolverines been impressive the way they took command in the second half. There'll be a lot of Big Ten coaches remaining on their schedule that'll have their attention after this explosion. Back goes Bolliard. Throws underneath. Not much on the play as Carlos Marte, the tight end, makes the catch.
The Big Ten has been a little bit off this year. I mean, they have not had the good non-conference record, and I think there's one team that may be sneaking up on some people, and that is Michigan. Michigan lost early to Notre Dame, lost early to Miami, and they started off 0-2. But if they would have scored 3 or 4 more points, they could have won both of those ball games and been right at the top 10. And near the top, if they would have won both those, they could have been ranked number 1. So Michigan is a force to be dealt with in the Big Ten title race.
On 3rd and 12, Bolliard's got to throw it. Deep sideline, Turner. Rob Turner's had a good day. He had some big catches in the first half, and he hauls in a big one right there and gives Indiana a first down on the Michigan side of the field. UCLA now putting Arizona away in the 4th quarter, leading 24-0.
It's a big win for the #1 team on the road. There's Lloyd Carr, the defensive coordinator for the University of Michigan. Has done an outstanding job today, shutting out the Hoosiers. No touchdowns anyway, a couple of field goals.
From the Indiana 42, from the Michigan 42, the ball is rolling around on the field. Nobody sees it, and finally a Michigan man pounces on it. There were 2 Indiana people there looking for it as Cal Miller lost it, and they didn't see it. Rolled right between the legs of one, and Michigan recovers the fumble.
And you got a lot of Indiana Hoosiers standing around. You know, it's got to be a big disappointment for Indiana as we take a look at Harris going on.
31-6 the score.
Quarterback Troy Aikman is having a great day. This is his 3rd touchdown pass of the afternoon, a 56-yard effort to Corwin Anthony, and the Bruins lead Arizona 24-0 in the 4th.
Mark's happier here in the second half than he was the first.
Let me show you what they're doing. We talked about them slanting. He's going to slant between the center and the guard. And let's show you what happens when he slants between. We said they were going to try and stop the running game of Indiana by slanting. Well, he gets between them. He doesn't know which one has the ball. Knocks it loose. Lets Bolliard go and then tries to... What a great half he's played in this third
Go
quarter.
back there and the Monk's going to sort him out.
Just cause destruction.
Jared Monk, 240-pounder, junior, playing with a sore shoulder, but he's had a pretty good day, and he's done some power running all right. Alan Jefferson now checks into the backfield for Michigan, number 28 at tailback. This is another running back that Bo still says is going to be a great player.
Well, they have 3 outstanding tailbacks. All of them are sophomores. Tracy Williams, Bowles, and Alan Jefferson.
Oh, they're juniors.
Sophomores.
There's your bunch again. Oh, he looks strong today. He had a very sore shoulder, but certainly has shaken it off. That'll be another Michigan first down, and the Indiana defense now very tired. They have been on the field most of the second half.
Yeah, those tailbacks are sophomores' eligibility-wise. Juniors academically.
Good solid hit by Joe Huff on Alan Jefferson. Just about the line of scrimmage is where they'll put him down.
There's been one player for Indiana that has really had an outstanding game defensively. It's this man right here, Joe Huff, number 35. That is the way to do it right there.
I now remember why I'm confused, because we have them listed as juniors because Bo lists them all as juniors.
Yes, he does.
According to their academic posture. Yep. Does that mean he won't let them play if they're eligible for a fifth year? Second down and just a little more than 10 as Michael Taylor drops. Takes off. And penalty flags as he is rolled down around the 36. Jim Sam brought him down. This is a clip against the Wolverines.
Young man with a hat on there, just walked behind the side of the booth, is Doug Mallory, who played as a strong safety, a captain for Michigan last year, and is working as a graduate assistant at Indiana this year, as other brother used to be a graduate assistant at Indiana. Is Mike, and he's now, I think, an assistant coach at Kent State University.
Time remaining in the ball game is 8:03, and Michigan has the ship sailing smoothly, leading 31-6. The clipping penalty moves the ball all the way back to their own 43. They've got to go down inside the Indiana 33 for the first down. On second down, Michael Taylor to throw the ball. Does. Caught by Brown, the tight end, at midfield. Walker, rather, the tight end. Eric Walker, 6'2", but all of those tight ends are big people. Brown weighs 250. Walker weighs 245. Diebold weighs 250. Keith Mitchell, 230. And a bunch of tackles running around out there.
They are big, aren't they?
Ball's at midfield, third down.
Get over there. Third down and 17. Taylor puts it up deep. McMurtry can't run it down. Too far. Way over his head. And that'll bring up fourth down.
You know, you might question Michigan throwing, being ahead 31-6, but running is what they do best. I mean, if they want to run the score up, they would run, but I don't think there's any problem with it. I think these two coaches are good enough friends to realize that, you know, you're playing now for next week. This game is already won, and Michigan can show other teams that they can throw the ball deep. That's what they're trying to do.
Gillette will hit this one from around his own 40. And Buford's backed up, standing at his 12 now. Come up to the 20. Let the dead run take it. He elects to stay in bounds and works his way up to about the 32-yard line. And 6:45 to go in a game that's going to be won, apparently, by Michigan. The sun's going down. A lot of color there. And the moon is up. And it's Indiana's ball, first down, at their own 31. Bolyard getting a lot of work on his throwing now. Hits Buford at midfield. He's starting to throw the ball now with accuracy and some authority. When he first came in relief of Schnell when Dave was injured, suffered the bruised tailbone, he was very tentative.
I think you can see in how well he can throw it, too. Of course, there's no pressure on him now. The game is all